recording turned off because of not everyone being here, so we were just kind of chilling out. But yes, we're all here now. Well, not all of us here. We're still one person down. Badger is nowhere to be seen. He must be in his warren somewhere. So we got 3 of the players here today, so that's enough for us to start this downtime session. And if Badger joins in halfway through, that's not a problem either. We'll be able to sort him out. So hello everybody. Today is Saturday even. Today is Saturday. Tomorrow's Sunday. I've got other stuff going on this weekend as well, and it's all messing with my head. Today is Saturday, which means it's the turn of the Saturday Spiders for a bit more D&D. I am DK. I'm the DM, and that first voice you heard was Westlaw. Hey, say hello, Westlaw.
Hello, and you are currently speaking to. Am I going to do it again? Should I do it?
Go on, go for it. Do it. Do it.
You do it. Do it. You are speaking to Almaster Warren Gebetto Pook to Meppin. But of course, for now, you may refer to me as Pook until you have taken the time, which you should all do, to learn my full name.
And as I said before when we first told this element, is that I've got it written down in front of me and I still don't do it right. Or for that matter, bother to learn it.
Pook forgives you for now. Just remember that he is a man.
Jesus Christ. Anara Crocra fell from a rope bridge, exhausted, and failed the flight roll. Oh dear. And went, yeah. And we're also joined by Dakota, who has finally made it here.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for helping delay the stream.
Helping delay the stream.
Helping.
I wasn't
Didn't
alone.
realise this was a joint effort.
Oh dear. Well, who do you play? Who do you play, Dakota?
I play Nemia Vilefang, a fighter who enjoys protecting others.
Especially Pook.
Especially Pook. I am going to. I told you, I am going to arrange for you two to get married. It is going to happen.
I'm just at the point now where there's no point denying it. I'm only half deflecting the tail now, you know. The flinch and gag reflex. The flinch and gag reflexes go in, and it's just just go.
Okay, can we have?
Hold up a second. Where was this going?
Can we have some submissions within the chat for a D&D version of the city Stockholm, so we can have a Stockholm syndrome type thing for Pook. And also we are joined by my good friend Ty. Say hello, Ty.
Hello. Like I said once already, I'm playing Nimriel, a fighter as well. Does not care to protect others with a shield. Probably just throw herself there instead.
Now, Nimriel is currently not wearing any armor because Nimriel forgot the briefing for where the party just went. So what happened last week of a few weeks prior is the Saturday Spiders are one of the 3 squads that have been trying to basically going through an assessment and joining for the Silver Talon Adventuring Guild. And part of that process is they have a.
Oh, sorry, phone call. My bad. Should be on silent. It is not on silent. I'm a douche.
It's fine.
I will mute myself.
Okay, so the recap. So the Silver Talon Adventuring Guild, and part of that process is they go through a randomly generated dungeon, which is being created by the mages of that dungeon, of the guild, in a way very similar to like the Mordenkainen extra dimensional home areas. They basically have multiple mages working together. It pulls from certain parameters in terms of it will always have 5 set locations, which is a hub, and 4 outward locations, which is a manor, a garden, a library, and a smithy. And there will be things they need to retrieve from those items. So they go through an assessment dungeon, which is kind of like a light diet version of it. Basically, it gives the party a chance to kind of get to know each other in terms of what they're capable of doing. And then we'll be doing this downtime session, not a few downtime sessions, because the party spends about a week in the city of Neverwinter, so they have an opportunity to earn themselves a little bit of coin, get some new equipment, and do as they do, and get to have a chance to actually get to know each other and more in terms of their characters, as opposed to just how hard they can hit and what spells they can cast. So it's a chance for them to better get to know each other. Not that Nimriel. Or Nemia, I should say, needs to get to know Pook any better. Or that anyone wants to get to know Grokash any better, given the fact that he keeps trying to kill the party through some terrible, terrible rolls. But yes, so they managed to just about make it through the assessment dungeon because Grokash are doing a very, very good job of rolling ones and managed to almost take out the entire party on 2 occasions, which was an odd achievement in many ways. But they
doesn't get that achievement. We all get that achievement. We rolled 21 ones in one fucking session. 21.
there was
You counted them?
there was an awful
Yes!
lot. There was an awful lot of one
Nice.
rolling. This is a not a very lucky party. But
One now with abacus.
to be fair, we've got 2 fighters. One of the fighters is a fallen Arsimar. One of them is a tiefling. We've got a half orc bard and a forest gnome necromantic wizard. And they're wondering why RNGesus hasn't been pleasant to them at all. I've got the Monday group is basically a god squad. It's like 2 clerics, 3 paladins, and like they get all the roles. They're lovely. You know, the gods love them. But yeah, so that's that. So they started their characters at level 2. And over the course of the assessment dungeon, they managed to get up to as far as level 4. That's where they're at the minute, they're at 4th level. But yes, so that's that. Party, did we go through the bit of leaving the dungeon? Let's fuck it. We'll do that bit again.
We just teleported out.
Yeah.
We had just
So-
been given our briefing and basically dismissed.
Yeah, so basically, after teleporting out of the dungeon, they are briefed by Ilara Nightsweave, who is one of the more experienced members of the guild. He's actually a member of what's known as the Silver Council. They're the guys who actually run the Silver Talon Adventuring Guild. It told them he was very
And is
pleased with
also
them.
apparently a bit modest
Sorry?
and unfamiliar with
Well,
female anatomy.
he is a high elf, so, you know.
I did provide you all with illusionary curtains, it's worth saying.
You did. You did a very good man on that one. So, yes, they were... Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm just reading what Chris has put about his session where they have a warforged in the party as well. So if they're all roped together, then it would have become a problem because we're just like
Dragged everyone down.
yeah, like an anchor.
Weighs-
Yeah.
Literally weighs a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, so the party were informed that they'd be being picked up in the morning by a more experienced member of the guild as well, one of the veterans of the guild who would take them into the city of Neverwinter for a week, where they'll be having an opportunity to have a bit of a shop around to get themselves new equipment, Nimriel, as well as maybe get to know each other a little bit better. There's a couple of errands they need to do, which is what they've been told. There is a couple of errands they need to do, which is part of their assessment and indoctrination into the guild. Induction, not indoctrination. Indoctrination is not the word I meant. Induction was the word I meant. Indoctrination is an entirely different word, and maybe if you sign up for one of the churches, maybe you get some indoctrination as well. But they've only planned induction. Yeah, so you've got that, and they are basically going to have some time available to themselves to do whatever they want. You know, if they want to just go around and do a little bit of shopping, they can do that. If they want to try and find ways to earn a bit more money so they can do some more, get some more better stuff, they've got that as well. There will be some little minor jobs available to you. But yes, that is what you've got so far. So the first thing that happens is that bright and early at 6 o'clock in the morning, there is a banging on your barrack door. 6 o'clock in the morning, who would be awake? I'm guessing Grokash isn't because he's not here, so we're not going to let him be awake.
No, however, Pook is already awake, studying his spell tome and preparing his spells for the day.
Nemea sits up with
Nimir was not awake. Would Nimriel have been awake?
Yeah, 4 a.m. Most
Yeah.
likely.
And you're a soldier, aren't you?
Military tradition. Yeah.
And in the middle of all this, just coming out of the bat is a Grokash snoring away in the corner.
Nemea
He's the
throws a
biggest
pillow
one
at
as
him.
well. Carry him.
That's not fair. So let's say he's awake enough to be moved around and stuff, but he's not awake because he's not here. But yeah, so who would open the door?
So Pookie is going to remain cross-legged, and he's not even stirred from the. He's heard the knock. He's just not going to respond to it at all. he's continuing studying his spells.
Okay, dokes. Well, if no one opens the door,
No, Namia will get up. She'll kind of stumble to her hooves and then make her way to the door and open it up. And she's got on undergarments, so she's not nude.
okay. Well, there's standing before you is a dwarf with like his hair's basically it's essentially it's like very thick cornrows sort of thing for its sort of style. That style that's in Dragon Age. Dragon Age, you can have your character to look like that. Basically, he looks like that dwarf, but with quite a big bushy beard that's been braided, multiple braids going down to it. And it's like, "Good morning. It's time for you to go to the city. Are you all ready?"
Just a minute, she says, and turns around and goes to start putting on her armor. And she's just blinking, bleary-eyed. Her hair's in a ponytail, and she'll pull it into a bun.
He'll let himself into your barrack, and he'll go over to the small mess table that all the barracks have, where basically you've always got things like jugs of water, baskets of bread, and that sort of stuff. He'll sit down there and just like start eating one of the small hunks of bread whilst he waits for you all to get ready.
Okay, so Pook will at this point jump down from his bunk, slam his tome shut, put it back round his shoulder on the chain that hangs it there, and he will start to gather his things. And you do notice at this point that his herbalism kit has been out, but he's clambering that all together and throwing it very, very quickly into his bag, and is indeed first out the door.
Okay. So he's leaving without this dwarf then.
He's out the door, not out of the door.
Oh right, okay, right. So the dwarf just sat there. He does because by the way, you're all headed into the city. You'll need this as well. And he reaches into his pack and he takes out four little pouches, weighs them up. Says, yeah, that's right. And he chucks one to each of you. These little canvas pouches, little burlap, small. Obviously, it's a money pouch. It jingles happily as it lands in your hands.
Looking inside it.
I got a 16. Catch it.
You caught it. What up? Looking inside, you will find 250 gold pieces.
I didn't mean to roll a dex save, but yeah. Namia tries to catch it and fail.
Can Nimriel roll Grokash out of bed?
What's on the table, please, Mr. DM?
Essentially like half a picnic table. So instead of it being like benches on both sides, it's just like one bench because the other side of the table is against a wall. And it's just there's two large jugs of water, and a basket of bread. 250 gold they have, Nix, for this. It's a little bit of a starting wage here because we know some of you were running a little bit low on the old equipment. And
Pook Pook's going to pull out of his left pocket Skullbreaker. I'm changing the name every session on purpose. And he's going to break off what I would presume to be a not particularly soft hunk of bread, about rock sized.
Yeah, it's dwarf bread. You know, it's tough. It's lasting.
Where is Grokash from the table? Can I see him?
You're gonna throw bread at him?
He's quite strong. He can easily chuck 5 pounds. I think these guys are all going to be able to catch 5 pounds without too much of an issue. We go on Hollywood rule of cool. We'll be okay. It's just that bit. We're never worried too much about weight as long as it's not completely taking the piss.
Yeah. So I'm going to sling some bread at Grokash in an attempt to fully wake him up.
He'll cry out, "Ow!" With that. Yeah, you do.
Damn!
He cries out, "Ow!" as he gets up.
Nami is going to roll over on the bed and scramble around and grab her gold, which hit the floor. And then after she gets all her armor on, she's going to walk over to Grokash and grab the pillow she threw at him. Question though. So yeah, last session we left the briefing, and you said we were going to go, I guess, get our armor checked out and stuff. She would have asked about procuring plate mail while they were there. I'm assuming she would have just been told she's going to have to buy that with her wages.
Yeah, they can do things like they can repair the armor, and they can make adjustments to it, but they can't provide that sort of armor though.
Okay. Also, point of rule that I missed last time or the last few sessions, she would not have been able to wear the plate armor, and I'm sorry about that. She does not have enough strength, so bad on me, and I just didn't realize it until I did some research.
Okay,
Whoops.
that's fair enough. Well, well, you know, it's happened, and I didn't know it either. So that's. Are you sure you know? Oh yeah, you've only got 30. Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking of chainmail. Yeah.
After slapping Grokash squarely in the jaw with a hunk of bread, Orc, get up!
Oh, yep. He'll get up. And getting all this stuff together. By the way, guys, when it comes to adjusting your character sheets on the hit points, now if I just move this onto the other view over here, so with the hit points now, you've got the middle one is your actual your current total hit points. Just beneath it, you've got your max hit points as well as a minus. So if you have a negative modifier to your hit points for any reason, like some of the necrotic spells, for example, then that's where you can put all that information. So in the mirror, you'll need to adjust your hit point max to have 48 as well. And then if you have any temporary hit points, they go in the plus bit at the top right over here.
That's a really sweet feature.
Mhm.
Really sweet feature. So again, after shouting at
Yeah, Nick, you're right. You also can't cast spells.
Pook will whisper under his breath, but loud enough for everybody else to hear it. Why is it, Grokash, whenever we don't want you to do things, that's the first thing you will do?
Can we stop picking on Grokash whilst he's not here to play his own character? Because I can only proxy him so far.
He's asleep. I'm keen to go.
I said he wakes up. He's awake enough that he's putting all this stuff together. I did already say that he's getting all this stuff together.
Not waking enough to catch bread.
Oh, no, because he's an orc. He's half asleep still.
Nimriel will walk out of the door and stand outside.
Okay, right. I'm going to show you guys the world map view.
Let me grab some bread to eat on the trek or the ride rather.
Okay. Well, say the dwarf will lead you out to the basically the exit of the guild hall. The guild hall itself is if I move the token, it is that hill. So I just need to actually put that in because now that I've got all three parties in here, I can do that.
Nice. It's nice to have an actual map.
That's pretty sweet.
Bear with me a minute. Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking of not proficient. You're right, Nix. I want this token.
You got any background music for us?
I will do in just a moment. So let's go with. Well, you're going to be heading into the town, so I'm going to put the town. I'll put the town music on for now.
Yeah.
Or the town audio, I should say. So as you can see here, each of the groups has got their own token. You got the spiders, and they are heading down to the city of Neverwinter, which is basically just there. So this gives you an idea of where each of the parties are. So currently, all three of the parties are in Neverwinter. So there is a chance that you may bump into other members of the other parties here. Even potentially you may bump into them whilst you are doing the various tasks that are available to you. So if we actually go into the city itself.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, nice.
Now, where you are staying at, the tavern you're staying at, where they have a standing agreement with the guild, is the blue.
Question: mine is not updating. Do I just exit game and come back in?
Yeah.
Or okay.
No, you're on the wrong game.
Oh.
I did.
How was
Sorry,
I
I
in the
meant.
wrong-
Yeah, you need to be. If you go onto Discord and check in the pinned messages on the spiders bit.
I'll PM it to Dakota
Oh, okay.
so you can find it quick.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
and then basically paste that in your browser, and you'll be able to launch the game.
Okay, yeah, totally missed that.
And I'll be able to reassign your cat sheets to
I
you.
did too.
Okay, thank you.
So I need to assign your cat sheet again.
Yeah. Wonderful thing.
There you go. One thing I actually want to do is I want to change the colour of that to being a little bit easier to view.
That
What's
looks
the thing
nice.
in halfling?
Yeah. Fuck it. There you go.
Light blue. Light blue.
Light blue. So would that be
light
that one?
Up. Why is that not changing for me?
Because you're looking at the singing
Ah,
halflings rather than
yeah,
the
yeah,
blue
yeah,
style.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, different area.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll work up there.
Right.
Is there
Oh
a
yeah,
way
so
to give the text a background?
no, unfortunately
It's
not. Well,
convoluted, you
yeah,
can do it.
I can do it. But what I need to do is if I put it on, just put it on. Fuck it, that for now, and do that.
Oh, good.
Much better, thank you. Thank you.
There you go, make a little cut. So that's where you're staying. You're staying at a tavern there called the Blue Stallion. They have a long-standing agreement with the Silver Talon Adventuring Guild that they'll be where new groups are sent. As you're heading there, though, as you're on the road, the dwarf introduces himself as Fellatio Hornblower. He's a very. It's not even my character. This is an NPC character that I promised a friend I would put in. There's Fellatio Hornblower, and he's a very cheerful and chatty individual. He's quite happy to answer any questions that you have whilst you're on the road. So if you have any questions you would like to ask whilst you're taking this journey to the city of Neverwinter, now you can ask them.
So, Fellatio Hornblower.
Hi,
She
lassie.
just kind of sits there for a minute and thinks about that. Before continuing, continues. Have you done any mazes in your time as a Silver Talon?
I've done a few. Well, we did you do a few as you go to join the guild. You do one as part of your assessment, and one as part of the actual exam as well. So I've done, and aside from that, outside of the guild's things and doing my own bit of adventuring, I've done a few as well.
Oh, that's terrible. Do you get to turn down jobs if they involve mazes?
You don't always know if it involves a maze before you take the job on, is the only problem there. It's kind of hard to turn down the job when you've 3 months deep and all of a sudden it goes, oh, there's a maze here. Actually, you know what? Sorry, scratch that. We're off. Doesn't do much for building yourself a reputation.
That's
Now,
true.
Nemir, you should know by now. We've got mazes sorted. You keep your hand on the left, and you will always find the exit. Did I not prove that to be correct?
She throws the crumbs from her bread at him.
I will attempt to duck.
But
What
I'd
was
rather
that?
just avoid them altogether, but that was not. The battle was pleasant. The getting lost and having party members almost murdered was not.
No, although
Yeah.
I have to say, most of the danger came from our companion over here.
Grokash is sort of like sitting at the back of the what's called the cart, sort of sulking a little bit.
As he should.
It's not my fault. The sword is heavy to swing.
Pook will
Is that his
ignore
accent? Is that his actual accent using that?
them. Um,
I don't think I was far off, personally.
so, Mr. Fellatio.
Hi,
tell
lady.
me, did you have a good relationship with your parents?
Well, I'm the last heir to the Hornblower clan.
I suppose you think that answers my question. Fair enough. Right. Aside from this, how much time will we have to take on our own errands whilst in Neverwinter?
Well, you'll be in the city for a week. You've got. We'll be getting there. Well, we're getting there in like a late morning, early afternoon sort of time. You have an appointment with the a gentleman called Sigurd, who's going to go be recording your names and your own personal sigils into their book, as well as sending us some enchanted little necklaces to add to your current tags. And that appointment is at lunchtime today. You've got an appointment tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning with a gentleman called Rashid, who will be fitting you for tunics.
Tunics.
Hey, like a uniform. You know, just in case you don't make it through the examination, then we can bury whatever's left of you in a nice looking suit. You know, all the standard stuff.
Right. So I'm to understand when do we need to wear this tunic?
Well, it's designed to be that it's your guild uniform. So any official guild business you're doing, you would be expected to wear the tunic, or at least some element of it.
Right. Now, I personally, of course, I've heard of the Silver Talon Adventuring Guild, and this is why I'm here. I travelled far to join them. But how recognised are they in Neverwinter?
Well, they're a part of the main adventurers guild. They're we are the one of the most well-known people in the adventurers guild. So the name will carry some weight.
Then I shall wear it with pride whenever possible.
Good lad.
I'd like to use Nemia's background to learn about the rep of the Adventurers Guild.
So the reputation of the Adventurers Guild is basically that they are they're as the part of the bureaucracy. They are there to. They don't actually do any problem solving themselves. They are there literally to be the registration of the guilds. They're like the DVLA, but of combatants and spellcasters.
Okay.
Hey, Snow. And they are known to be very simple, very no nonsense. They're not a case of like they don't have any form of favoritism or anything at all. You know, they give the tasks to the best suited people to it. So, say for example, you were looking for something that was known that here is a magical issue that needs dealing with. They're probably going to approach the Mages Guild first and say, here is an issue. Is this something you want to deal with, or shall we find some adventurers? And if they want to find adventurers, then they'll send out the messages to the varying adventurers guilds and letting them know how difficult the mission is expected to be, and what their the expected rewards are, what is expected of them. If anyone has seen, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Then it's very similar to like the central offices of that guild hall, but bigger.
Nimril would ask, is there a cheap place to buy armor?
Well, there is a couple of places that the guild has a standing arrangement and agreement with, which you'll be able to go to. Bear me a second. Let me just. I keep a little book here of all my lovely little black book that tells me all these people. So here we go. There's a place called the Pangolin's Hide that specialises in armor. There is True Strikes that specialises in weapons. You've also got Silken Strength, which is a place that does specialise in magical robes, but they're not cheap because they do specialise in magical robes. So whether or not you'll be able to afford it, well, you'll have to see what sort of money you can make.
They happen to sell leisure robes.
Oh yeah, they sell regular clothing as well, but that gentleman I mentioned before, Rashid, he does also do more casual clothing, so you may want to have a conversation with him first, given the fact he's already going to be fitting you for a uniform. He may be able to do you some form of deal. And there's also a Menace's Magic, which is an enchanting shop, and they're very good for if you have something mundane and wish for it not to be, they should be able to help you achieve that. Again, his costs, his things, he's a magic guy. He does enchanting. He's not going to be the cheapest person out there.
Any chance the Silver Talons have associations with jewelry shops or jewelers?
None that I'm aware of. You're probably going to need to ask around.
I can do that.
Okay.
Of
So
course.
about this sort of time it'll be when the cart is just coming through the gate, and the dwarf he waves at the guards and they wave back, and you get the feeling that he's one of the known people, that the guild is known enough that the little crest on the side of the wagon is recognised and not given any trouble. That Felicio himself is a recognised person. He is a known person to the guards, and they're oh yeah, just waving through. It's fine. We know what's going on here.
Oh god.
I've got to sit here and not giggle to myself every time I introduce the character. Alright? You've got it easy.
You didn't bite on my joke, man.
I ignored it deliberately.
I will, however,
So-
ask him as we're passing through the gates. Tell me, Felicio,
Yes, laddie.
can I just call you fellow?
Yeah, well, it's not my name, and I may not respond to it, but sure.
Tell me, where might I find the library of Neverwinter?
Are you looking for a regular library or a magical library? Because I see you there with all your little spell book.
Any library. Or
Any library? You're probably going to want to go to the mage quarter anyway. It's sort of like where all the intelligent people hide. So you'll need to go to the northeast side of the city. By the way, for anyone wondering, it's only set in this realm in terms like Sword Coast and the city of Neverwinter. I'm adjusting things to fit my story, my campaign. So it's more of a case of like, here is a ready to roll setting that I can then put my stuff into, because instead of me generating an entire homebrew world, this is just an easy way to do things because I've got 3 groups running through it. So it just makes life a little bit easier for myself, that I can focus more on generating content for the groups as opposed to generating an entire world.
Yep, that's fair.
So yeah, so the northeast sector of the city.
Thank you.
So
Where's most of the shopping done there?
bear with me a second. I'm just going to mark some areas for you.
Okay.
So one thing that hasn't changed: the main shrine in the city is 2-tier. So that's there. That's sort of the main. That's the main shrine itself. The mage area is basically, it covers all of that area along there.
What's that area, sorry?
That's for like the mage area. So that's where a lot of the mages live, and in the very like the northeast area of that is where the things like the libraries and colleges and stuff are. And your main area for trading is basically down to the river, and that's sort of like the market area.
Okay.
Righto.
Just to give you an idea of some of the place of some of the areas. Obviously, as well, you've got the harbour area where that's out near towards the harbour. But none of you are rogues, so I don't expect any of you are going to want to go to the waterfront.
Never know.
And the main, I'm going to, can I assume she's familiar with the general premise of Neverwinter based on her background story, not her background
Yeah, so it's basically Neverwinter. Essentially, it's that melting pot capital city. It's London. It's New York. It's where everyone
Okay, so she
goes.
know that she could find a temple to Helm without
Yeah.
issue.
So yeah,
Okay.
the actual the rest of the shrines, are where did I put those? Yeah, because you've got the two graveyards and they're around the graveyards.
They're in the south, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So
Has he said that we have an appointment to go to now? Or can we just bail?
you have got an appointment to go to today. Yeah, today at about lunchtime. So you've got an appointment in about. You've got about 2 hours.
Ah. Then Emil asks, where exactly will this cat stop? And where will
Well, he's taking you to the Blue Stallion where they can mark up. So the area that's marked there is the other religious area. So the just north of the graveyards is where you'll find just like a conglomeration of all other various shrines and stuff. So that'll be where you go to find a shrine to whoever it is you're looking for.
Okay.
on the south side of the river, yeah?
Yeah, south side of the river.
Yeah, yeah.
So he parks up outside the Blue Stallion. And says, like, first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go in, get you all booked in, you know, because this is like one of those sort of like travel in sort of places. You need to register here so they know that you're actually here and they don't need to then just like release your room to somebody else. And I figured you might want to put down your packs and that sort of stuff as well. And maybe, I don't know, Grokash, you there, young laddie, you're looking like you're still a little bit sleepy. I imagine you're going to want to put your head down for another rest. Grokash nods, and after that is not going to be spoken to anymore throughout this session unless he appears.
I can't help but think you're directing that towards me.
Maybe. So you, so it says like, I can take you to your appointment, or I can give you the directions and leave you up to your own devices. But I would advise you to not be late.
I'd rather you take us to the first meeting. Where's our meeting in the morning?
Well, your meeting's in about probably looking about 2 hours from now.
Right, but tomorrow morning's meeting.
Oh, tomorrow morning's meeting. That's 9 o'clock in the morning. I can take you straight there for that one as well, because I need to go. I need to head there anyway. I've got to go to Rashid and explain to him why I've ripped my trews.
And how exactly
Sorry,
do
what was the time for that one?
rip your trews?
That's 9 o'clock in the morning. So you'll have enough time for breakfast and stuff, and then it'll be straight out into the city.
So, how did you rip those trews of yours?
Well, I fell down a set of stairs, and I fell down on my arse.
That's not nearly as exciting as I was hoping for.
Agreed. Agreed.
I couldn't find my phone for a second there.
So we have 2 hours before we.
You have a couple of hours. You do.
Could you give me directions, please?
To where?
To the meeting place.
To the meeting place, certainly. So, and he basically he sketches out the information for you, and where you're heading to. If I just mark it on the map for you for Sigurds. Sigurd is on the edge of the city. I'll just put a thing in for him. I want that one. I want that. We'll do that again.
Nick
Yeah.
said falling downstairs, aka falling abusive partner.
Yeah, I read that as well.
Those dwarf females are strong characters. Thank you kindly, Felicia. Now, Nimriel, I shall meet you there in 2 hours. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and especially don't do anything that Grokash would do.
I feel like there's too many options there. I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Fine. I hold no responsibility for your actions whilst I'm not here. I shouldn't really hold any responsibility whilst I am, but it seems that often relies and falls on me.
Where are you headed off to, anyways?
The library. Where else would I be going?
Oh, I don't know. I figured you had more layers to you than just books.
Books have many layers, that's why they have to be bound.
Don't worry, Namir. He's not going to find another woman.
She laughs and slaps Nimrael across the back. Good, good, good. I'm glad. And she winks at Poop.
There are two problems with that. One, I am married to my books, and two, I am not facing a woman.
I imagine a book can do several of the things I can do.
Perhaps not. Perhaps that's one of the qualities I like best. So Pook will, on that, leave the Blue Stallion and do his best to follow the directions that Felicia gave to the libraries.
Yeah, we're okay bailing now, right?
Yeah, you're fine to do as you need to.
Okay, Nimriel's jumping out of that cat. Well, actually, out of the fucking Blue Stallion, since we're already there, and just going straight towards finding armor.
Okay.
Where
So
are you off to? She asks Nimrael.
What does it look like? I'm not wearing any armor.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you want to go get laid or something, and she follows.
So I'm just adjusting some of the bits that are on the map to make it so you can see the names of certain picked out locations more easily.
So we gotta go to what? Pangolin's hide armor? Is that what? what he said?
Pangolin's hired for armor.
Something.
The pangolin's hired for armor. Let me just mark. Basically, that's in the thingy sector now.
Okay,
It is.
I know we didn't ask about it, and but what the hell is the Seamont Dibbler? I mean, come on.
Right. Okay. So on the Sunday group, as a part of their exploring of the city and doing their own stuff, Grav, who plays Dotan Revo, who's a rogue, went down to the waterfront to basically to find, to see if there was a thieves guild, and reasoning that would be the best first place to look, waterfront smugglers and that sort of stuff. So they went down there. Whilst they were there, they also wanted to see if they could find a what are they called, a kebab vendor. And
A kebab vendor. There,
a kebab vendor. Basically, yeah. So essentially, what it boiled down to was cut my own throat dibbler from the Discworld series. So I didn't say that's who it was. It's slightly inspired by that character, but actually more accurately inspired by a local guy in my high street who has a fantastic little kebab shop. Yeah, Grabs decided it was cut my own throat dibbler and wrote that on the map. So I was like, fuck it, it's there now.
Now we know.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was just there for the extra spicy kebab sauce to coat your arrows in. But never mind.
So yeah, so where you need to go to, if I just put another one in, is going to be about here for the Pangolin's hide.
Yeah. Get us there quickly. Go.
Oh yeah, so is you? I'll put the name in. I'll put the name in later. And that's where you're going to go to there for the Pangolin's hide.
As they're walking, Nemea will try and engage Nimrael in conversation, and
it's going to take you about about half an hour, 45 minutes to work your way through the city to get there. Unless you've been to Neverwinter before.
Nimriel definitely hasn't. She's
On it-
ventured far.
Chances are Nemea actually would have been to Neverwinter before.
Okay. So yeah, so
Maybe not familiar with everything, but
it will take you about half an hour to walk from the Blue Stallion to the to the Pangolin's hide,
so
or to that area of the market anyway.
I can't really handle that plate armor, she admits. while they're walking. Just been exhausted since.
Clearly, neither can I, seeing as I'm not allowed to keep it.
What do you mean you're not allowed to keep it?
The plate armor was quite nice, but unfortunately it wasn't real. But I forgot to collect my chainmail while we were in there, so now I'm wearing cloth instead of plate. I feel a bit bare.
Well, I would too. I can't believe you left it there. Why didn't you just put it in your bag?
I didn't want to be weighed down. My own stupidity.
Well, I couldn't rightly remember what the hell had been said when we first got started about whether or not we were bringing anything back with us, so I figured better safe than sorry, but...
I too forgot. Or, better yet, I remembered incorrectly.
Well, we got a wage now, so we can say, take care of our armor.
I feel like I'm about to get some cheesy old man's leftover armor. I'm not liking the food.
Hey, don't hate on hand-me-downs. And she kind of pats her own armor. This belongs to a cheesy old man.
I'm just
Man
so
who
used
taught
to
me everything I
clean
know.
armor.
All right. Okay, so when you start heading through the more industrial influenced area of the marketplace, so you start seeing things like various types of smithing shops, weaponsmiths, blacksmiths, and there's a few that are open, and some of them that have got like a stall out front. Some of them where it's just like a that classic the blacksmith's door where it's the big thick wooden door with all the iron rivets through it. As you're going through, you're looking out for the sign for one that says Pangolins Hide, and you find that one. And let's go it's that's sort of like the style of like the stable door where it's like the two segment door, and both segments are open, and you can hear the sound of metalworking coming from inside. It's one of those basically like you get the feeling that it's the sort of place where when it's open, they're open. The doors are open. If the door is closed, then the place is shut. There's nothing for like to be viewed outside. It's a relatively small place that you go to that place to buy whatever it is you're buying.
Is this Pangolins? Is there any clear sign that it is?
Yeah. There's a sign above it that says Pangolins Hide.
Okay, cool. I'll just walk straight in there. Since the door's open.
Okay. You'll see a dwarf standing at a forge. He's currently like treating some heating some metal so he can start working on it. There's also in the corner there is a gnome sitting on it looks very much like a high chair, but probably just because he's a gnome. And he's sitting at a table and he's working on some leather.
Oh, Nemea says in warm greeting.
Oh.
The gnome is the one that turns around to face you because he can actually hear what's going on over the roar of the forge because he's sat a little bit away from it. It's like, hey, good morning. How can I help?
Plate armor, please.
Plate armor. You right? Plate. Yep. Wait, Hugh. Oh, hang on a second, and he picks up one of like his little. You get those quite thick needles for puncturing through leather. He picks one of those up and he's like, oh yeah, this one here. Whops it across the shop, and it just like bounces off of Hugh's shoulder. And the dwarf, who you would correctly assume is named Hugh, looks up and goes, hey, what?
Plate armor.
Plate armor? Well, we'll need to get it fitted to you, and then there's a cost of the materials, cost of working it.
I'm going to assume that it's super expensive.
Well, standard thing of buying plate armor, as has just been pointed out by Nix. It says I think it's actually $2,000.
It's not cheap.
When I was looking, I believe it was 1,500.
I might be mistaken thinking of something else, but I know it's at least 1,500.
not to mention the amount of actual time it takes to actually create plate armor. Especially
Yeah.
as it's
Hey, you might have
tailored
some
to
just on
everything.
layaway.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna see if he's got anything left.
That
Get my
wouldn't.
best.
I mean, if we're going proper traditionalist, that wouldn't fit you. And
No.
it'd be very difficult for you to wear it.
Yeah, and that is pretty much the same information that you would be given if you ask Hugh about it, which is fantastic. It means I don't have to do the accent. But he does say that, well, the best I can do for you would probably be maybe salvaging the breastplate, reforging that, reforming that for you. But that's going to cost. Well, I've got the cost of the breastplate itself and the material. Probably. Because I don't know, I'd need to then remake another one of those for that when that does get picked up. Because I know that's going to be on the other commission. He said he's thinking about it. That'll probably be like maybe 2-3 months away till he comes back for that. So I've got the time to dick around with that as well. But I may need to recoup the cost on it. 500 gold for that breastplate if I was to do that for you.
Any chance there is something? I have 260 gold, and I am working for the Silver Talon. Is there anything better I can get? Maybe not even any plate at all.
Right. Well, what sort of armor are you looking? I mean, as in, like, do you prefer to be more mobile, or do you like to, are you happy to stand there and take a hit?
I'd rather take a hit.
Stand there and take a hit. I can whip you up a suit of ring mail without too much of an issue. You've got a halberd over there. I can work on having you, laddie. Yeah, I've got some here. I've just been putting together various undercoats and stuff. Yeah, I can. I've got one you can. Aye, right. I could use a set of ring mail. It would take me, I don't know, probably about 3 or 4 days to put one of those together. I've got nothing I'm majorly working on at the moment. That'll cost you, 35 gold pieces.
That will do. And she takes out the 35
Is-
gold.
I mean, he's got.
Badger. Badger's here.
Is there a badger? Badger,
Badger's here.
you're currently asleep at the tavern. We'll come round to you shortly.
Roger.
Right. He says, well, I mean, I've got other stuff that may take a little bit longer. It depends on what you're after, to be honest. I was just saying something I can make.
I would just like something to wear that is not my undergarments. Something heavy.
Right. Well, so long as you don't mind waiting about a week, I can whip up a set of splint mail for you, but that's going to cost you 225 gold pieces.
That is fine. I can agree with this.
Okay.
25 gold pieces.
Right, the first thing I need you to do is go over there with my colleague Warren, who's going to measure you up for the actual leather underplate for it to make sure that it's going to fit you. And then once that's been measured and everything for it, I don't need you here anymore. I can start working on putting the splint onto the leather.
She walks over in the direction of this.
Warren jumps off of his stool, picks up like a little step ladder thing. He says, "Oh, can you please stand here, please?" And he points to a position for you, and he runs around and jumps up onto his stool, positions it. He's all measuring you up. It takes about 10-15 minutes for him to measure you up.
Mia pulls her shield off her back and says, "I'd like to see about getting my armor checked for a refit. Maybe get some strap reinforcement, get a few dents pulled out of my shield."
Right, you said you're part of the Silver Talon, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, well, repair works free.
Excellent.
Yeah, I sounded disappointed.
Well, yeah, it means he's not getting paid. He is. I mean, he is because they're on retainer to the guild. He makes X amount of money per month off of that subscription to from the guild to him. But it's the fact that he's not going to get cold hard cash today, so he's a little bit meh. By the way, Ty, if you mark off the 225 gold pieces from your inventory now for space, buddy, and we'll sort yourself out for that later. Job, just so you know, you're not necessarily going to get that armor until you get back to the guild. You are going to be without armor until you get back to the guild because he said it's going to take him a week to put it together.
Right. Okay.
So he would arrange for that to be, once it's completed, to be sent to the guild, and so you'll get it when you are returning to the guild hall.
That's fine.
Sorry, Dakota, you were saying.
She was going to try and brighten Hugh's day a little bit by saying, I am interested in playing, but I think I've got a little more training in me before I can really manage it.
Alright, well, if and when you find yourself actually looking to make a purchase, then please do by all means swing by and we'll see what sort of thing we could... I mean, I've never made plate for a tiefling. I mean, do you just have a hole for the tail, or do you armour down the whole length of it itself?
I hadn't thought about that. That's an excellent question. And I'd love a set of armor for my tail. Could we
That would
weaponize
just
it?
weigh you down even more.
I'm not too worried about the weight. I'm worried about. I mean, if I can use that tail as a flail, a mace, can we put spikes on it?
Well, I don't know, to be honest. There's something I've never thought of doing. That's the problem. I've never really considered it. I've never had to armor a tiefling before, so I don't really know.
Oh, you're missing out. And she kind of spreads her arm and poses like, "Come on, Warren, measure me up. Let's do this."
She spends too much
Yep,
time.
I'll be
playing
with you in a
them
minute,
rather
be with
than
you in a minute.
outdoing them.
So, that's you two. Do you want Warren to measure you up for a future purchase?
Yes, including the tail for a weaponized armored tail.
Fair enough. We'll see what I can work out that will actually be. Tieflings have a hole in it and a chain and strap chainmail around it like a sock. That's what the Nix has just told us. Right. Okay. So you got you two. Then basically you're spending some time being suited and booted in the pangolin's hide. We'll come to Pook next because you were on the way to the libraries. Is there anything in particular you are looking for doing?
So, to be honest, I'm just going to be looking around the quarter where the libraries are. I know I haven't got time. First of all, I've got to get there.
Yeah, so because you've only got your little legs, and are you familiar with the city of Neverwinter? Is your character? I don't believe your character is familiar with the city of Neverwinter, is he?
Not in terms of having been there. No.
Yeah. Yeah, he obviously obviously he knows of it. Yes.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't know my way around it yet. But having been a part of the traveling to Mepping plan for so long, I pick up directions very easily. I remember them, especially when it involves roads. So yeah, I'm gonna wander over in that direction. I'm gonna look at see what I can see in terms of libraries. I might poke my head in for a few of them.
Okay.
But I'm not going to have time to peruse, and I know I'm not, which greatly disappoints me.
In terms of actual libraries, there's only two libraries really. One of them is the library that is attached to the Mages College, which is also the home of the Mages Guild as well, which I'll just mark in blue. Well, not necessarily blue because I struggle with the colours and stuff, but I'll mark it in a colour for you, just to make
off the rainbow.
Yes, there shall be a colour, and it shall be as colours were, colourful. There you go. So that's like the where the mages are based, and just next to it you've got like an actual regular college, including their library as well. Now those are the two actual main libraries. Everything else you're looking at is basically there's a few bookshops, but nothing massively special, nothing that's really like stand out. There is within the mages area there is a bookshop that does sell things like it's a mages literacy shop essentially, in that it does sell spell scrolls as ones that have been deemed by the Mages College and the Mages Guild to be safe for general dispersal. So you're not going to necessarily find particularly fearsome spells. You're not going to find a scroll of blight, for example. That's a nasty spell. But you find things like a scroll of make like a scroll of fireball, for example.
Okay.
Your more
so-
standard fare scrolls.
Yeah, I mean, what Pook is really looking to do. Obviously, his previous study was around life, death, the barriers between everything else. And although he's still interested in that, now he's begun to adventure and is starting to get a taste for it. And whether or not there's any mechanical game bonus for this or not, he would like to look into the sort of things that he's likely to encounter in adventures, especially the creatures, because again, he's still interested in life and death and necromancy.
Well, is he essentially looking for some form of like adventurer's guide or like hunter's guide, sort of some form or shape of bestiary?
Yeah, essentially that sort of thing, and the sort of things he's likely to come across adventuring. Yeah, that's sort of like a bestiary almost.
Yeah. So you do. So you're just spending a little bit of time looking around for it. Just.
I mean, I don't necessarily expect to find it now.
Yeah, I'm just having a think.
I could.
Well, you know the sort of thing you're looking for. So let's have a think of what I think, because you're looking for something in particular. So let's just say you just give me just a straight up intelligence check.
Or an investigation, maybe.
Go on, give us an investigation. Give us an investigation.
I got an 18. Happy
Nice.
days.
So you find you make note of that there is a bookstore, which is it's called what should we call this?
What kind of bookstore is it?
Well, it's gonna be it's a bookstore that essentially it sells various guides for hunters. It's a bookstore that it's not just a bookstore. It's more of like a one-stop shop for your basic adventurer.
I've got it. Quills and Quillian.
Quills and Quilliam. Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with Quills.
Quillian, as in the actual name of the guard of the sword.
Yeah. We'll go with that. I'll just make a scribble in that. That's good. See, this is the sort of place that I wasn't thinking of that you may need. I made a note of a few shops, as you can tell.
Yeah, Pook is a little outside the usual. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because it helped because I haven't DM'd for a while as well. That's the thing. This campaign that we're running is my first time DMing for over a year, because of various stuff and knocks the confidence and all that sort of stuff with it. So I'm trying to ease myself back into it in a way as well. So yeah, this is helpful for me. This is helpful. So I don't feel bad at all. And this is sort of like a one-stop shop. So
Okay.
there's in the window. There is a few sort of like taxidermied, lesser horror type creatures in terms of like, oh no, look, it's a direwolf. Except actually, no, it's not a wolf, a direwolf. It's a wolf that's a bit mangy and has been made up by the taxidermist to look like it's a direwolf, but it's just a wolf.
Okay.
You know, it's like, oh no, oh god, no, it's a goblin. No, it's not a goblin. It's a monkey.
And,
You know-
and as we well know, Pook has a good understanding of Carnus lupus, and so
Yeah.
would know that that is indeed not. a direwolf.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right, bear with me a second, because I'm just going to quickly just generate a name for the person who runs this shop.
Well, to be honest, knowing that Pook hasn't got much time, this would be somewhere that I'm going to take note of.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
in
as I'm scribbling stuff down,
you know, Pook will make a mental note of the location, the sorts of things are in this place, with the view to come back. Pook doesn't book shop quickly,
Yeah.
as you've probably already guessed. So he's going to make a mental note to return there to Quill and Quilliams. But at the moment, yeah. So he's presuming now it's probably about time that I need to start heading back.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to start heading back to it. Now, Grokash, are you there, friendo?
I am. I'm not the.
Nix, feel free to DM me some stuff.
Yeah, he needs the same link I did.
I'll DM it to him.
Yep.
Ah, a link. I see.
There you go.
There we are.
Press that into your browser and then launch again.
Loading now. Yay. Aha!
Hang on, I'll just assign you your sheets. Your sheet is assigned to you now. I believe you'd already done all your leveling up, hadn't you? Yes, there you go. Yeah, so you're fine. Right, so you weren't awake. Because you weren't here, we just had it so your character wasn't awake when you came to get collected. But we had you woken up and somewhat manhandled onto the cart. So you have made it to the city. I need to put this here because I need to move. Sorry, I'm just putting in some labels onto the map as well whilst we're going.
Grokash may notice that he has a strangely bread-shaped bruise on his face.
Yeah, he was he was given a bopping for various reasons.
Fantastic. Love it. So where do I?
Well,
wake up?
you are currently at the Blue Stallion. You were taken to the Blue Stallion by a dwarf known as Fellatio Hornblower.
Okay.
And you were advised that you had a meeting to get to at a place called sigils, and he says he can either give you directions or he can take you there.
I'll find my own way.
Okay, so he gives you the directions to where sigils are. So it's going to take you about. It's you got to the city at just before 10 o'clock in the morning, and the appointment is at about lunchtime. So you're looking like around about 12 o'clock is when the appointment is. It's only going to be like a quick little appointment you need to do to go there. But basically, just has some stuff explained to you essentially. So you've got some time. If there's anything you particularly want to do in the city.
An armor smith. Or
You wanna go to-
Smith is high up on the.
An armor smith. Sorry, I just didn't mean to ping that there. Right. Okay. So you're. We can do a quick little retcon for this and say that you saw Nimir and Nimriel heading off because they mentioned that they were going to find an armor smith. So we can quickly retcon this to say that you joined them if that makes life a little bit easier, which I feel it may do.
Yep.
So you joined them and went with them to the Pangolin's Hide, where there is a dwarf known as Hugh, you've heard the name Hugh, and a gnome where you've heard the name Warren, and they work on various types of armor. And
Nemia is currently being measured horn to tail, specifically the tail.
Yes.
For armor and potential
yeah,
weapons.
Nimriel has already been measured. Nimir is currently being measured.
Roger. So at that point, arriving, I'm gonna go up to the dwarf, assuming he's more of a smith, and I don't know why you'd have a gnome around you.
Well, the dwarf when you entered the shop, the dwarf was standing at the forge or working at the forge. And the gnome was sitting at a quite high desk working on some leather armor. So the gnome is a leatherer.
That makes sense. They do have their uses after all. And then I'm going to approach the dwarf and essentially take off my shirt, hand it to him, and be like, "New one, but better."
Right. What? Your friends have been rather polite, and you're standing there like a bit of a prick. I'm not fond of orcs at the best of times. What do you want?
So I'm gonna look at him really confused, and then be like, "A new one, but better."
Right, and you've got a chain shirt, yeah?
She
Yeah?
puts a hand on his shoulder. Why don't you try saying please
Oh.
and maybe thank you if he says yes. And she backs
Please,
off.
a new one, but better. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Just it's you've got a chain shirt, yeah?
Yes.
Gotcha. Right.
I
So.
want to give him my most dashing smile.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think we need a charisma check from you to see exactly how dashing this smile is. He's like, right, fair enough. Well, let's take a look at this. And he sort of like quite unfairly snatches the chain shirt out of your hand, holds it up, and is like, it's typical shoddy orc workmanship here. Look, you can see right through it, can you? Look at that chain shirt. You can see right through it. Terrible work.
Hold on now, Hugh. Calm down a bit. He's just trying to give you some business, isn't he?
Right, okay. Well, I mean, when you say new one but better, what are you actually looking for?
So I try to explain to him that, like, I just want it longer or bigger.
A longer or
Stronger.
bigger, right? So you want me to like basically get this extended out of me? So are you looking to maybe like instead of being just a shirt, like a full hauberk, like basically bit of a metagame? Do you want to go from having a chain shirt to having chain mail? Is that what you're after?
Essentially any sort. Well, I mean, in those terms, I guess probably not, because I can't actually wear heavy armor. Because I'm not like an armorer, I would probably just try and explain that I want better armor.
You want better armor.
Any medium. I don't actually have the stuff open. I think.
So no,
chain
I've got it here. Chain shirt is medium.
So
yeah.
probably like, if it was explained that might be the best chain, maybe scale.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's going to say. Is like, right, well, I mean, to be fair, I couldn't really make you anything better in terms of protection. I can make you something better in terms of fit and quality. But it's still gonna, it's gonna turn a blade the same way. It's gonna block an arrow the same way. But if you're looking for something that's actually going to protect you better, I can do like, well, I've been working on this style of sort of like lamellar sort of armor. It's sort of like it'd be like bands of armor. So like when look, I'll show you. See, right? If we drop this chain shirt and you see how like it like turns into basically like a puddle of metal. It's not very neat, and you got to pick it up again. It's sort of like it all tangles in itself. It's not that nice. This sort of armor, it's sort of like it would like retract into itself as you lowered it down. So like it would like collapse onto itself. So it would be like plates and like not like plate, more like bands of armor going down your body to protect you.
And I nod knowingly, as if I understand what he's saying.
I mean, that's not a very good description of scale mail, but it's what we can count as scale mail. Scale mail would actually be different than that. But
yeah,
yeah. So it's the overlapping pieces of metal, much like the scales of the fish. Yeah, it's because the scale mail itself, proper scale mail, would actually be closer to having essentially like a wide bit of chain mail, but then linked onto each chain would be a small metal plate, which would just be a fucking arse to make, to be honest. If you were an armorer, you would charge. If you were an armorer, you would not charge the same for a chain shirt as you charge for full scale mail. It's just stupid. But some sort of like like that's sort of like that lamellar sort of armor.
yeah.
Nix, I did something very similar to that a while ago. Yeah, so basically what he's describing is, like the sort of armor that the Roman legionaries used to wear.
Yeah. That's what I was imagining.
Yeah, that's what he's describing. So he's describing that, but we would count it nominally as being scale mail, in terms of its function, and its armor class and that. So he can make that for you. It's like, if I'm going to be making that, well, I mean, your friend there has asked for an entire suit of splint mail. I mean, what I can do is I've been working on the prototype for the piece of this anyway. So I mean, we can measure you up. I can adjust the prototype. It might pinch a few places here and there. You may need to come back to get it adjusted, but I can probably have something ready for you in a couple of days, to be honest. I mean, the piece itself is essentially finished. I haven't, I've built it for my own chest, and, well, I'm broader than you are. He's a dwarf. He's going to be broader than you. You're only half orc.
Look at me, and then like, damn, he's right. I put out my hand to shake it, like shake his hand.
Right, it's going to cost you, well, because this is a prototype I'm working on here, and I'm not entirely sure how well it's going to work, and I've put quite a lot of time into this already. I'm going to have to charge you 75 gold for this. By the way, you should see in your inventory you were given a pouch of 250 gold as basically like a starting wage from the guild. So that's what you've got available to you to spend a bit of money here and there, and that's what you've got for if you want to like go out and buy yourself any health potions like you're doing here, buy yourself better armor. If you want to get a weapon silvered, for example, that is a service you can look into getting hold of. Silvering a weapon, if memory serves, is 100 gold pieces.
I've marked it down, and I'll hand him over the
Cool. So he takes those 75. He takes those 75 gold pieces from you.
Yeah.
Oh no, Nix is just this particular dwarf is very, very stocky. He's a like a several hundred years of smithing. He's tonk. So yeah, this particular dwarf is definitely broader than a half orc.
So
He's basically a barrel with arms.
How far off is the appointment?
Well, because of the amount of time it would have taken you to reach Pangolins Hide, the amount of time you would have been spending there, getting measured up, because he's going to need to measure you up to try and start adjusting the armor piece, and fitting it to you, adjusting it, spending some time with you on that bit as well. You're probably looking the three of you would need to head from Pangolins Hide straight to Sigurd's Sigils.
All right. In that case, I'll
once you're done.
Head off. Yeah.
Well, so after he's finished measuring you up, he tells you, be back in 2 days. We'll see where we got to. We should have it ready for you by then. So yeah, then he makes they make everyone who's got something ordered, they make a note of the things that are ordered for it, so it's all registered. Receipts and that are given out as well. Everything's like done by the book and above board, and they send you on your merry happy way.
So before they go, Namia will ask, so you work with metals on a day-to-day basis? Do you know any jewelers in the area or any jewelry smiths? Or,
None that I can think. I mean, there's bound to be a few, but there's none that I know of personally. None I could specifically recommend.
How about your source for your metals?
The source for my metals. Well, that would be.
They deal in more than just iron and steel. I mean, you do silver weapons, right?
I can silver a weapon. I can silver a weapon, and I have military grade silver available to me for silvering a weapon. It's not jewelry grade.
All right, but surely your metal source is going to be familiar with other metal sources.
Well, I speak with a military wholesaler to get my materials, as does every armor smith and weaponsmith that I can think of in the city. I mean, if you look into it, your best bet would be to go down to the waterfront. It's where the trade guilds are based, down the waterfront, because that's the easiest thing for them. If you're looking to actually find a precious metal trader, that would be your best bet to start there.
Well, I don't necessarily need the precious metal. I'm just trying to find a jewelry shop. There's got to be custom jewelry here in Neverwinter.
She's looking for a ring for a loving husband.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's got to be one, but I don't personally know any of them. I'm sorry, you'll need to ask somewhere. Warren, do you know any jewelers? I don't know. I know that chap Rashid sells jewelry. I don't know if he makes it or not. Right, there you go.
Excellent.
See, it gives you a little line on the way. It's Rashid.
All right, thank you. I'll start there. We'll see him in the morning.
So yeah, that would be like them sending you then on your way to Sigurd's Sigils. So the three of you are traveling together, and as you get then to Sigurd's Sigils, where you'll be meeting Pook there, probably be like maybe 5-10 minutes between your arrival there. When you get to Sigurd's Sigils, there is a sign on the door that says "Closed for lunch." So it's you're there standing outside for about 25 minutes or so until a little gentleman comes along from the back of the shop to the front. You see him coming to the front of the shop. He opens the door, says, "Silver
Any
talons."
children that pass by? Any non-tiefling children that pass by? And Namia will try to kind of tease them with it, like a little bit of a.
Fair enough. Let's see if any do. Let's actually see if any do or not, shall we?
Mostly just an exposure of Fang and a little slight noise.
Yeah, no, yeah. Three or four do pass by in that amount of time, and let's see, they. One of them sort of like jumps, but then sort of like runs away giggling. The other two the other two look at you, and as it's a group of three as they come past, and you do the hiss, and one of them sort of like jumps and like giggles and runs away. The other two just like look at each other, look at you, and they go like back at you and giggle as they run off after their friend.
Puts a
Not
big one on her face.
Not phased at all.
These are kids from Neverwinter. They've seen some shit, man. To be fair, I did roll some basically charisma saves for a child, and they rolled fucking a 5, an 18, and a 19. And I was like, well, for fuck's sake, what we gonna do here? I can't have one person run away scared, properly scared. So it's all like just like played it by ear a little bit. Yeah. So the little gnome gentleman, he opens up the door without turning the sign over. He opens up the door. He's like, Silver Talons.
Quite.
Hello?
You must be Sigurd.
Yes, and he ushers you in, doesn't flip the sign around, closes the door behind you again, and he goes back behind his desk, which is basically a massive book, and this is what you see in there. He's like, right, yes, so I'm Sigurd, and I will be the one that will be making note of and helping, if need be, for you to design your sigils, so that you can be recorded properly and fully into the annals of the Silver Talon Guild. They are not eyes; they're horns. Well, not horns. It's like a piercing. It's made to look. It's a piercing made to look like horns. And this players was why I was asking for you to develop and design a sigil, a sign. Basically, in terms of your professional signature. You know how they've always got 3 signatures, haven't they? They've got their quick signature, they've got the credit card signature, and then they've got their I'm working and I'm doing my like RSVP to a wedding sort of like signature. He's basically the same sort of thing, but like having a symbol, a brand to use. So he's there to make a note of that.
At the mention of sigils, Namia's gonna kind of get a dark expression on her face, and she's gonna kind of turn her back for a minute.
Right, okay, sorry if you're made uncomfortable by this. But yes, the idea is that I'll make a record of your name and your information in my book here, as well as making a record in the book that belongs to the Silver Talon Guild itself. And that means that then as time goes by and things happen, we can record your great achievements and failures as need be. And should you fall in the line of duty, we can properly record you in the annals of history to make it so that you are never forgotten for the things that you have achieved, or not, as the case may be. So if everyone has their sigils ready, we can do this. If people still need time to think about it or are still working on their stuff, then we can leave this for now and take care of it off stream and off cam later.
Yeah, in all honesty, I need a bit more time to work on mine.
Okay, that's fine. So that's basically this is essentially a little theatre of the mind exposition sort of panel for now.
Will this thing affect story? For example, with my character, it would just be the same one of her family.
You can do that. You can do that if you would like to. It depends. It all depends on exactly how the story goes as to how this may or may not affect and impact the story.
Well, the sigil I'm going to use is going to be a historical one. For
Okay,
the family that she's
okay.
part
Well,
of.
so we'll make a. I think you've already sent me it on Discord. I think.
I don't know. Did I actually send you it?
I don't know. If you haven't, then
I
just
don't
send
even know
it.
where I saved it.
So send it to me later. It's fine. We'll sort all this bit out off stream and off cam because I need to make a record of what all the basically I need to essentially actually make his book but digital, so that I know what's going on with that bit, and also because then that means I've got some more stuff that I can start getting things involved with, and these sigils will come into use as part of your examination dungeon as well.
Right.
Because that's going to be your first actual task as a member of the Silver Talons Guild, as it were. because that means that the reason they do it that way is that if you die, it means you die as a member of the guild and can be taken care of with proper honours.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, we'll take you back into the city for now then. So you have the rest of the day. Let's say it takes about an hour and a half total, where you're in sigils, and he's taking you through some various things, showing you some of the stars and the designs and things that he can do, answering questions you've got in terms of like, is there any symbols that you definitely can or definitely can't use. Recommendations on things in terms of like if things like recommending, if you're this sort of person, consider having one of these as your sigil, or something easy to remember. It's helping you to practice sketching things out, giving like signature lessons, that sort of stuff. So he's spent about an hour and a half or so with him. And then you have the rest of the day to yourself in that regard.
Nemia's handwriting is actually quite acceptable and pretty. It's not crude.
For God's sake, Badger! I've just seen you're wanting that for Greycash's sigil.
Yeah.
God, you're such a cheeky fuck. But I'm not gonna stop it. I'm not gonna stop it.
And you've seen Nemia's, right?
Yeah. It's just Greycash just sent me basically the symbol for the Horde from World of Warcraft.
Nice.
Oh dear.
Wow.
Yep. Absolute laziness. But it's fine. It's fine because no one's selected that yet, so you're fine. And you're the only orc in the game, so you're fine. So you have the rest of the day to yourselves. So you can at this point you can go and try and do a bit more shopping if you want to. You can also do regular downtime things. So if you want to do things like go straight back to the Blue Stallion and just rest for a little while. If you want to try and find somewhere to do some carousing and that sort of stuff, you can do all that. All that is available to you. Regular downtime session in that regard.
So she looks at the others as they're leaving the Sigurd sigils, and she says, "So we're here a week, right? We got some downtime. I think I'm gonna get myself a job.
What kind of job?
I do a little drink mixing. I can manage a bar. Maybe there's a place around here.
Do you want to quickly roll me a history check?
Yes, 1 second.
And in light of that, Nimriel's typical response to something coming out of Nemia's mouth that is something like that is, of course, who would have guessed?
You do remember that it was mentioned that there would be a jobs board, like a minor jobs board at the Blue Stallion.
And then she adds, "There's a job board at the Blue Stallion." That's right, we got told about that. So I think
I can't remember if I actually mentioned it. If I didn't, sorry, but I've mentioned it
I'm
now.
pretty sure you did. I know you mentioned a board, but I wasn't sure if I heard the minor boards part. Minor jobs part, not minor boards part.
So yeah, we can do that. So that is one of the jobs, so one of the things available to you. So I can take. Well, actually, what I can do is, if you does the party want to head back to the
No, I would not.
something?
Yeah,
So I was.
I've
I
actually
was
got
gonna
booked
go find the
attention.
weapon.
Okay. So if you want to, Dakota, you want to take Nemea back to the Blue Stallion and have a look at this jobs board.
Yes, sir.
We'll come to that in a few minutes. Then the rest of the party, what the rest of the party want to do?
Nimriel would like to turn to Pook and ask him a question. Pook, would you be able to accompany me to a place where I might learn about creatures not from this realm?
Well, you are indeed in luck. That is entirely where I'm headed.
She just smiles, a slightly forced smile.
However, study is a serious business. If you wish me to guide you in study, I expect quiet, concentration, and discipline.
Of course. My experience with books has been so good so far.
Yes. You're a good friend.
And that is precisely why I would like to know. And then she
Well.
just turns a side eye to Grakash over there.
Unfortunately, most of the books that I have read and intend to read whilst in Neverwinter will not try and eat me.
But that is so plain.
Yes, and also useful. Those things often come together. Now, I'm heading to Quills and Quillians now. You're welcome to join me.
Right behind you.
Okay, because you guys want to go to Quills and Quillians. What would Grokash like to do? Where would Grokash like to go?
I'm gonna go try and wander the streets and find a weaponsmith so I
We'll
can get
try
a
and-
halberd.
And try and find a halberd. Okay, what we'll do is we'll do you first then, because whilst it was on the cart coming to the city, the guys did ask about things like weaponsmiths and armorsmiths. So you would have been there and heard that, and so you would know that there is a weaponsmith which is called True Strikes, which is it's about 5 minutes walk from Pangolins Hide.
Oh, fantastic.
So I won't bother putting that one on the map because I deliberately had them close together. The layout of the building is very, very similar. The door, there's nothing like on display outside the shop. The door is open, and the way I described it before is you get the feeling that if the door is open, the shop is open. If the door is closed, the shop is closed.
Yeah.
So you can head into True Strikes, or you can head to True Strikes if you would like. And we'll do that first because that's a relatively short thing for you going to buy a weapon.
Sweet.
So the door's open.
So going in, I'm looking for pole arms in general. If there's like racks or some sort of, filing system.
Well, so when you go in, you do see sort of like stacked along one wall. There's about a meter's worth of rack, which is assorted long weapons. There's like some spear length things for it, and then you've got like the longer things like of actual like proper pole arms, halberds, pikes, and that sort of stuff, which is then the next meter along from that. The next meter along from that, you've got 2 racks which are above each other, and it's swords hanging. Basically by their quillions, by the handguard on them, so they're you know like how sword racks are. Basically, you've got 2 of those sitting above each other, one above the other. It's all very neat and tidy. A lot of the weapons, they look the same. There's no real difference in the styling. Certainly the blades look the same. Some of them, the hilts look a little bit different, but nothing really stands out as being particularly more special than any other. No, there's no finely crafted signature weapons here. This is all stuff that is it's not made to order. It's made so there is a stock available.
Yep. Awesome. In that case,
there is a forge though. The forge itself is it's warm, but it's not being worked. And there is a dwarf standing behind like the counter.
Okay. I'll probably. Can I just go up to a glaive if there is one, if not like a halberd?
Yeah, there's a glaive available.
Seeing them all that are just like mass produced, just whatever's, just grabbing a glaive off the rack, walking over to the dwarf, and then asking how much.
Yeah, bear me a second. Right. That one, sir. That one would be. Well, let's take a quick look here through the player's handbook and find out, shall we? That one is one of my standard works there. 25 gold pieces for that glaive there, sir.
And I'll just pick out the money from my pouch and hand it to him.
Okay.
And then smile at him and leave.
Thank you for your business, sir. I do hope it keeps you safe.
Yeah.
Made out of chalk.
Don't ruin the surprise.
It's like you've never seen tinfoil before.
It's just a standard glaive. So just add the glaive onto your character sheet.
Was that 75 or 25? I've already forgotten.
25.
25.
Give him 75 if you want.
Negative.
Yeah, 25 gold pieces for the glaive.
After that, I'm pretty much just gonna go look for some real shit bars. Like the scummier the better.
Well, you could. It doesn't take a genius to work out that generally the wretched hive of scum and villainy of any city is the waterfront.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah, so you want to head. So are you basically looking to do some carousing?
Yes.
Right. Well, let's do your carousing now, and then that'll be like the end of your evening and downtime and stuff, and we can carry on with the other players. So.
Yeah.
I do like carousing and stuff. It's a good giggle. Helps if I can actually find the fucking pages on again. That's always good. So, can you please roll for me a D100 plus 4?
Who's that for?
That is for Grocash.
104.
So the 44. See, now, this one, it specifically says you earn modest winnings from gambling and recuperate your lifestyle expenses for the time spent carousing. Now, because you've got paid room and board courtesy of the guild, that means that you're actually going to be getting a bit of money out of this. So, you are a bit of a mercenary type character, so let's say your expected lifestyle and stuff. Let's find everything, because this is one of the bits that fucks me around every now and then, because it doesn't come up very often, a lot of the time. I'm always forgetting. There you go, lifestyle expenses. So you have just made let's say it's modest. So you've just made a gold piece. You made a gold piece, or what it equates to being 1 gold coin through gambling. So it's most likely like a handful of silvers and coppers, but the total value is a gold coin. So if you just want to record it as 1 GP, that's fine, I understand. If you want to record it as small change so you've got some easier stuff to work out for later, by all means do so.
Nah, I'll just give it a 0.
Cool.
Gold.
Let's go to Pook and Nimriel next, then, please. So you're heading to Quills and Quillians.
Yes.
So Quills and Quillians, as we said, is essentially well, that's you enter Quills and Quillians. The bell dings as the door hits it, and a rather cheerful gentleman pokes his head up and says, "Welcome to Quills and Quillians, your one-stop shop for adventuring needs. I am Bran." What do I write here? Swiller. That's right. Try to forget my own fucking handwriting. I am Bran Swiller, and I will be the one who will be equipping you on your wonderful journey out into the adventuring world. How can I help you, please, sirs and madam? Sorry.
So at this verbal assault,
Like you can fucking talk.
Pook is. I literally wince and turn a little bit. It's like Pook was expecting walking into a bookshop, decorum, quiet, and things like this.
Well, now you're inside. Whilst there are books that are very easily visible from the window, it's only like the first 2 gondolas of shelves. Behind the rest of that, it's things like there are bundles of quite shoddy made arrows. There are some bottles of questionable liquid that maybe it's a health potion. There are little adventuring kits in terms of there's things like cookery sets. There's like travel cooking sets. There's tents. There's blankets. There's some not particularly robust looking crossbows and things. There's all sorts of little things. Basically anything you could think an adventurer might need, but probably not want.
Okay.
Was this supposed to be the bookstore that we went to?
So
Well, from the outside, it looked like a bookstore because it had, in the front of it, it had like these taxidermied monsters and like easily visible. You suspect possibly by deliberately. There was so like some racks of shelving that had some books on them.
Okay. Pook, well, although he feels assaulted verbally, good day. We shan't be needing any help for now, but thank you all the same.
Well, if there's anything in particular you're looking for, please don't
Then I,
hesitate
of
to
course,
ask me
will
for
let
help.
you know. Yes, I'll let you know. Yes.
That's the most down I've heard him ever. Like, Christ, I don't want to be here. Get me out of here.
At this,
I get the feeling I may have actually upset Westlaw with with
no,
this
absolutely not.
shot.
This is brilliant. I'm loving this. Pook will turn away from this thing, and Pook will start to browse the books. They're on the bookshelf, looking for anything. Although he was expecting to spend a long time here, he's quickly browsing through the books now.
It's a lot of sort of the sort of books that you would expect. So sort of like like Herbalism 101, and if you have a flick through that book, it's just referencing all the various herbs and things that people kind of know with common sense, and things like there's various pictures of both poisonous and non-poisonous mushrooms and funguses, but only quite commonly occurring ones, nothing that's really that rare. There's a couple of bestiary type books. One of them is specifically based around invertebrates, but like small ones, so things like you'd find, you get them like the Ladybird books on spiders, the Ladybird book on this, that and the other. They're kind of like medievally fantasy versions of those. There's also some books on things like like the Tourist's Guide to Neverwinter, the Tourist's Guide to this city, the Tourist's Guide to that city, those sorts of classic things. There's also some books which are sort of like guidebook to. You get the feeling that it's a series. It's from a series, like guidebook to various areas that are in the actual world itself. So like guidebook to the Star Mountains and things like that.
Okay. With disdain at the books that are available, Pook was looking for something a lot more academic. Pook will turn to. Sorry, what did you say the name of the shopkeep was?
Bran Swiller.
Bran Swiller. Sir,
Yes, my friend.
trapping. What do you have?
I've got some bear traps, rat traps, squirrel traps. I was really tempted to go do the whole 2 Ronnies bit there, but I decided against it because I don't think I'd be able to keep it going past about 10. But yeah, he lists off various types of small animal traps, both humane and non-humane.
Manacles. Chains.
No, you probably want to find one of those slightly dodgier shops on the darker corners of the west of the west side of town, sir.
Very good.
See you later, Mojo. Thanks for sticking around, man.
Is this for a wedding gift for your partner?
I think we will go Nimriel unless there is anything here you see you like to look off.
No, I think that I would like to go to a place with a bit more intelligence. If that's okay.
Madam, you ruined me. This is a well-respected and well-renowned store within the city limits itself.
By whom?
Bye. Yeah, I was expecting that, and he's just standing there like, bye. Well, we feature in the Tourist's Guide to Neverwinter, which is why we stock on our shelves, because they were so kind enough to feature us as part of their wonderful publication.
I'm sure the tourists would enjoy his shop greatly. Good day to you.
And you, sir, enjoy your day. Please do be careful not to leave an R-shaped dent in my door on your way out, sir. There's a good chap. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't do you the kindness. Pook will quickly leave. Nimriel, I must apologise. I was led to believe that it was perhaps a more intelligent.
I've been waiting for that since we brought up Quills and Quillians. I got so much joy out of that.
I did as well. It was really good. I did have.
It's okay.
I do have, as always, as you probably expect, have some backup plans.
After you. I will follow.
Across the way, I have found both the Mages College with adjoined library and the Standard College, both with libraries. Now, you were looking for extraplanar creatures, correct?
That is correct.
If we are allowed entry, and I'm sure we will, with some persuasion and possibly some coin, then I would recommend that we would make our way to the Mages Library.
She just nods.
Very well. And that's where we will go.
Okie dokie, so I'm just drawing a circle.
Circles are important.
It's...
Yeah, drawing on roll 20 is a bit janky sometimes.
Yeah, there you go, I got it though. I got it! It's fine, I got it! Alright, okay. Okay, so you want to head to the Mages College, yes? Or the regular college?
The Mages College.
Mages College, certainly you can do that. The Mages College, the library is open to the public. They have two areas. One of them is it's locked off and it's only available to the members of the College of Mages. But one of them is a more public area. As you have a bit of a flick through some of the books on the first couple of shelves, it's things like legends and lore of the Sword Coast and Faerun in general. So it's a much more learned series of books. So less Adventurer's Guide, more Encyclopedia Britannica.
Okay, so immediately stepping in, Pook will take in a deep breath through his nostrils.
It's musty.
Yeah,
It's musty.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what Pook expected straight away. And all of the tension in his shoulders that was built up through quills and quillians immediately drops, and he looks right at home straight away. This, Minriel, is what I was looking for. This is my playground. This is my home. This was for many, many years what I was surrounded with as I slept, as I woke, as I worked. This is my home.
I'm sorry.
Now.
Did I interrupt something?
Shall we get to business?
Of course.
Pook will stride confidently into the library, but quietly and with decorum, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And libraries are his thing. He used to live in one, so he knows. He's got a very good idea of where to find things.
Hang on. What I'm going to do is I'll turn that down a little bit. I'm going... Actually, no, fuck it. I'm actually going to use this one.
Oh, I love it.
Cool.
There we go. You're at the library.
Yeah. So Pook is going to make a beeline for books that are going to be covering extraplanar type activities and things like this.
Are we looking for like activities or creatures?
So anything to do with extraplanar, because what I would presume is if this is your kind of standard library, you're not going to have, oh, here is a book about extraplanar creatures. That sort of information is going to be hidden away in tomes about people going on adventures, recordings of that sort of thing. And it's going to be a case of you're going to have to dig through books to find the information you want, I would imagine.
Well, the library, all the shelves, and there is like literally dozens of shelves, and some are there's like a mezzanine floor that's got another like loads of shelves in there as well, but they're all clearly marked with numbers on the edge of each set of shelving.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like how a lot of libraries have an indexing system. Same thing.
Okay. So Pook will guide Nimriel first of all to the area that is kind of like journals of adventures on the plains and things like this. Would I be able to find that?
Have you been to this library before?
Not this particular library.
You're probably going to want to have a chat with the librarian about the indexing to work out whereabouts you need to go.
Okay, that's fine. Where is the librarian? What do they look like?
They are a half elf. You get the feeling that the other half, the half that is elven is high elf. And they're standing at the basically it's like a little desk just inside the entrance. So like the little, it's quite an open area, but it's not like a foyer sort of area for the library. So you basically you've strode in straight past them, and they haven't really paid you any mind because, as I've said, this area of the library is public. They are there to answer questions and direct people. The only reason they're at the front is because sometimes people come straight in like, I'm looking for this, and they give them the information straight away.
Okay.
So it's a quite tall female half elf with golden hair.
Okay, so Pook will stride up to the desk, and he kind of changes his mannerisms a bit, almost like he's familiar with the person behind the desk, which of course he isn't. He's never met them before. The roads have led me here, and I've never been so glad. Pray, can you help me find my tomes that I'm looking for?
What is it you're looking for, my dear?
Specifically, journals on extraplanar travel, if you would.
On travel, right, okay. If you go to, and she's flicking through her index books. Like if you go down to, you want to be on aisle 27. It'd be about halfway down. You're looking for there's a small sign. It says exotic, which is it basically just lets you know that's the area where the more extra planar sort of things may be going. But you will find there some journals kindly donated to us by quite a few adventurers who've been out that way, and they were kind enough to let us have copies of, or even in a few instances, the actual original journals that they kept whilst they were on their journeys.
That is splendid. Thank you for your help.
So if you go to that aisle, basically the whole of it is just all these different mismatched books. None of them are really alike. They're all, even the ones at the same size, they're different thicknesses, or there'll be different colours. Like some are bound in leather, some are not very well bound at all. They're kind of like coming apart a little bit. Some of them are really, really well kept. It's an absolute hodgepodge of different styles and designs, and none of them have got a title or anything on the back of them, on the spine. None of them are actually like listed who they are, because these are all journals from adventurers.
Okay. This, Nimriel, is where the real fun begins. This is where we dig, this is where we search and we find. Grab one. They are not titled. And let's start studying.
What specifically are you looking for?
I was just about to say, are you like instructing her to just pick up a random book that she'll have no idea about?
Well, yeah, because
Yeah. To be fair, he's right. That's the way you're going to need to do this. Is you're going to need to start flicking through some books, rolling some dice to see what actually you end up getting.
Yeah.
Right, well,
So that's why I need to know what specifically you're looking for, so we can work out essentially how likely one of those books is to be in this mess, and your likelihood of finding it.
So Pook is going to pick up about 4 or 5 books. He's not used to studying one book at a time.
There are, as you're expecting, there are a selection of tables about where like the classic, the student study library. Those tables are available.
Yeah, so Pook will carry them up to the mezzanine floor to a table up there, and instruct Nimriel to follow. He will pull out from one of the scroll cases about his person a blank piece of parchment, his quill, and his ink.
Okay. How many books would Nimriel like to take?
She'll just take some of the biggest ones she can see, maybe 3 or 4 of them.
Okay. Nick's is saying roll for nerdcraft.
I mean, when they get when they get put down, Pook is going to give Nimriel a wry smile. You may be bigger than me, and I think you may have bitten off a bit more than you can chew there.
Right.
Blank expression.
Okay. So, how many books has Pook got?
5 to start with.
5 to start with. Right. So, just going to make a note on my paper here. So you've got 5 books.
You wanted to know what kind of book she was looking for.
And Nimriel, how many books did Nimriel take?
Did I say 3 or 4? Well, I said both, I think. 4.
4.
We'll say 4.
Okay, and what specifically is Pook looking for?
So Pook was looking for things to do with like creatures and aberrations that he's likely to come across whilst adventuring. However,
So
now his interest has now been piqued by Nimriel, and he's diving headlong into helping her to find some information about extraplanar creatures.
Okay, so was it extra? Is it extraplanar creatures that you're looking for, then, Nimriel, or is it information on extraplanar places? What mean?
Right,
let me know.
very specific
The
nature
more
of
specific
search.
you can be, the better.
Yeah, I'm going to give you very, very specific information now. Okay, so she's looking for information that would be in regards to monsters and creatures that aren't just, your typical beasts like dogs, cats, wolves, bears, stuff that might not even be from this realm. Things like their eating habits, how you might be able to coax them, gain their respect, tame them even, this type of thing. So animal handling for a bit more extreme nature.
You're looking for a guidebook on how to tame a mimic.
No, not just a mimic.
But no, Ty, come on, be straight with me. Are you
No,
looking?
it's more than that. It is
No,
more than that.
Ty, be straight with me. Are you looking for a guidebook on how to tame a mimic?
It's not just that, but yes, an extension.
Right. Such a dickhead.
Not
I assure you, it's
yourself
not
to
just that.
mimics.
We spoke about this after you left last session. But no, it's not, actually. It's it could be for anything. Any type of creature that might be coerced or be able to gain the respect of.
Right.
And I mean by those statements that I am avoiding saying taming because in the mind of Nimriel it wouldn't be that she could just about tame anything. She's
Right.
not interested in making something stupid. She's interested in getting, I guess, more of along the lines of a friendship or a companionship with.
So she needs making friends and influencing people.
Yeah.
She needs
Out of
making friends
creatures,
with
sure,
mimics.
not people.
Right.
You shouldn't give a fuck about people.
Right, hang on a sec, because I need to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-roll some dice.
We'll be reading all week. Or rather, Pook will be reading all week, and Nimriel will be crying on his shoulder. Make it stop. Make it stop.
Yeah, Pook will respond at this point. If only we could.
You know it's serious when he pulls out snack food. It's like, I'm here for the long haul.
Whips out his granola bar. Oh shit. I'd be worried about a lot more than just having it bite your tongue there, Nix. What if it, lays its fucking nest inside your stomach?
That's not how mimics work.
Why not? They lay eggs where they exist, don't they?
No.
They're also shapeshifters. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
No, what happens? Well, actually, maybe you'll find out what happens to mimics. Maybe you won't. Depends what book you find.
It literally isn't just for mimics. She won't.
No,
be-
I know. I'm just saying that it depends on what sort of book you find. Right, Pook.
Yes.
I'm gonna have you do this. Roll these first. Can you please roll for me, individually to each other, 5d100,
Whoa.
as in not like 5d100, but no, literally like 1d100 5 times.
Okay.
If you put double square brackets around each one, then it'll do it each time. That's fine. Right, so I just gonna need them separate to each other because of how I've done this. So you got a 24 and
99.
a 70.
Yeah,
If it-
boy.
If it helps at all, it doesn't matter how high or low you rolled. It only mattered the specific numbers that you rolled.
Oh, okay.
And Nimriel, if I can get you to do the same for me, please, but 4 instead of 5.
These are the fucking rolls.
81, 77, 53, 74. Okie dokie. So, Pook,
Mm-hmm.
the first book that you're flicking through is the journal of the journal of a dwarf who spent. They were a cleric of Helm, and they spent most of their adventures were regarding a very zealous dealing with undead threats, very specifically targeting, seeking out where the undead are active and going after them.
Okay. So we're talking Shadowfell here, or?
No, he never made it actually fully off the plains, but he did make it to a few places that were like bordering it. So like where the Shadowfell was kind of coming through the Vale, as opposed to actually him going all the way through to Shadowfell itself.
Got you.
So I'm just making a note of these myself at the same time as well. And Nimriel, your first book, so you rolled an 81 on that. Okay, you know what? Actually, that's... You find a journal of a ranger.
It's good. It's a good start.
That it was a... They don't make a note of what their race is or anything at all. But it's they're a ranger. You guess from the journeys and the things they're describing that they're a ranger. And they managed to they kept a record of a time when they were inadvertently sent to the astral plane, and they keep they've made a record of the things that they saw in terms of like the way that the flora and fauna were like how they were different to what he would see on his home plane.
Is there any sign as to what plane they're talking about when they're using these comparisons?
Just the mundane plane.
Okay. Got that one.
Pook, the second book you look at
Mm-hmm.
is it appears to have been mistakenly filed away in the wrong area.
I can't help but find that funny.
It's a prayer book.
Pook will.
But it's a handwritten, like, so you can see why it may have been put away with the journals as well. If someone's just taken a flick through it, but they're these quite long prayers to Ivandra.
So Pook will set this book aside, saying almost to himself, but so Nimriel can hear. Amateurs. I expected better things at this library. I shall return this to the librarian so it can be properly stored away.
And the second book that Nimriel is flicking through.
Yep.
So you rolled 77. I rolled that. So work out. So yeah, this book is also been mistakenly filed away, but it you get the feeling that it's been mistakenly filed away by someone again who believes that it should be here because of what it's covering. It's actually a bestiary on like known extraplanar creatures, but it's like legends and lore, so there's nothing that's really concrete information. It's sort of like a more an academic review of mythical creatures. So things like the way, so it's like there'll be on each page, on one side of it. So on one side there'll be a very beautiful artistic depiction of the creature, and on the other side is sort of like a categorized input, like a average size, average like a normal diet, threats to look out for, known places of the ways to detect one of their lairs, but nothing really about how to deal with it. More I guess like this is a basilisk. They are known to have 6 legs. Beware of its stare. A scaly hide, like an angry crocodile. But as if the book was written by Alan Partridge, but not actually really. It's stuff that if you didn't know it at all, it would be helpful. But if you're looking for specific information, it's just not really that good.
Would Pook see or notice this?
Let's have a perception check, because you're probably quite nose down into your own books. Let's have a perception check.
Sure.
I don't think you've noticed. No, sorry.
It's okay regardless. She's going to push that aside. She's not actually that stupid, despite what it looks like half the time.
Pook, your third book. So you rolled a 4, and I rolled that. This is a more specific book from a human ranger. On the front page of it, the first in page, it says Journal of, and it describes this gentleman who is he calls himself Darius. Darius Delmar. Fuck it, we'll go with alliteration. Easier to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, it's a journal on what he saw when he was patrolling forests that are known to have a sort of like a susceptibility of breaking through from the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a quite detailed book on the habits of creatures from the Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
So that book, in terms of it's not just a case of like, oh, this is one of these creatures. It looks like this. It has this many legs. This is its lair. It's more a case of like, this creature that I observed. The general sleeping and eating habits of this creature, the sort of places that it likes to call home. It would normally dig a burrow in this sort of location that and then the burrow will go down so far deep. It has a diet that consists most of this, and this, and also make a note of things like their general hostility level and how he managed to, like, the few of them, not so much like some of these creatures, not so much coax them into letting him near, but more distract them with various food types, seeing what sort of food they react to over periods of time, so that he could get better looks at their markings and their lairs and their homes. So it's not so much about taming the creatures or anything or coaxing them, but how to how to more successfully distract them. That's creatures of the Feywild.
Yeah, Pookie's going to set this book aside for further study.
Okay. Nimriel, your third book. So you rolled a 53. I rolled that. This is the journal of a gnome wizard. And it is a rather lengthy journal depicting describing and recording his several unsuccessful attempts to create a more stable gate to a particular plane. But you get the feeling that he wasn't a very good wizard, and that's why he wasn't able to successful. He wasn't successful.
What particular plane was that? Or is it just?
Basically, each chapter is a recording of how he was trying to access various different planes. So, but he never managed to break through any of them at all. So basically, repeatedly failing the planar transport spell.
Yeah.
And believing it was worthy of record, which I suppose it was for his view. Pook, your fourth book. So you rolled a 61, and so let's say that. It's a journal of a sea captain.
Mm-hmm.
No record of his own name or race or anything, but it's a journal of the captain of the Extraordinaire.
Okay.
The name of the vessel. And it's a record. It's a record of the things that he's seen when sailing at the edges of their known maps. In terms of the sights that he's seen, creatures that he's seen, things like like it would be because things like the Kraken and that sort of stuff. Creatures like that, they're not exactly unheard of in the world of D&D. So it's more like, a D&D's version of what they would view being the Kraken. So things like even bigger versions of them, ones that have the ability to shoot lightning from their faces and shit like that. And a lot of it is written with a lot of flavour and excitement. So you're not too sure exactly how accurate any of these stories are going to be. You get the feeling that it may be a record of the stories that he's told his crew.
Okay. I think I'm going to disregard that book.
Nimriel, your fourth book. It's a record of the journal of a party leader, a group leader, and it's the gentleman is actually no, it's gentleman, it's a lady, and her name was Seraphina Zextra, and it's Zextra. I had to make some of this stuff up on the fly because I wasn't really expecting. But I'm enjoying this.
Drow name?
Yeah.
Pook strikes again.
You're not entirely sure. There's no record of that. But it's what it is it's a record of the various people that she's travelled with. So like a party leader, it's and it's a journal on like I travelled with a dragonborn mage who was capable of doing this sort of thing and the other and diddly-dee and the places that she went with them. So you get like it's like it's sort of like an adventurous version of a little black book.
Almost kind of seems a bit useless. I mean, I feel like I'd be nitpicking for certain information through that book. No.
Hey, dude, it's a big library. I never said it was all going to be helpful. Pook, your fifth book. So this is the one you rolled 99 on, and I rolled that number there that I rolled that he didn't say out loud because he's clever enough. And this one is let's see what we do for that. Yeah, it's a journal of a half orc barbarian.
Mm-hmm. Which is impressive if he can read and write.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a translation record.
Well, you know it is actually the journal of a half orc barbarian, an actual half orc barbarian, because the handwriting isn't particularly neat, and whilst it is written in common, a lot of the letters they've got sort of like the dwarvish script on like the way the letters are written is very like as if someone was trying to remember not to write in dwarvish. Some of the spelling is a little bit shitty as well. But it's all legible.
Someone who is a foreign national who writes numbers in different ways to what you do, you recognise the numbers, but
Yeah.
they're decidedly different.
Yeah. And it's a journal of his journey into the Shadowfell.
Oh wow, cool.
Basically where he was trapped there for about a month. A month Shadowfell time as well, that is, by the way.
Yeah, it works slightly different.
Was that longer or?
Depends. Can be either.
Yeah. So he's trapped in Shadowfell for about a month, and it's just a list of some of the flora and fauna that he partook of to survive his time there. In terms of like but because he's a half-orc barbarian, quite a hardy constitution, you're not sure how helpful this would be to someone like yourself. Because obviously, he's a barbarian. He's not going to be as fussy about what he's eating. But it's less a list of the dangers that he faced because he's a half-orc barbarian. Nothing's dangerous, but nothing more dangerous than him. But more as like a deer diary. Today I found it looked like a deer, but it had horns and fangs and a tail that was much longer and claws. It might not have been a deer, but it tasted like a deer, so I'm saying it's a deer. It's a lot of it that sort of thing. I garnished it with it looked like a mushroom, but it tasted like feet.
Yeah,
Nice feet, but feet all the same.
Poop will also set this book aside for further study, recognising that yes, it may not be written in the most academic way, but there can be information that may still be gleaned from it.
Okay.
That's
Your total of 9 books that you found, and we'll say that it's going to take it's quite a bit of stuff there you're flicking through. I would imagine it's probably going to take up the rest of your evening to go through those books, and then with the returning study on that. The reason I'm saying this is because we're coming up to 11 here, and I don't want Dakota feeling too left out.
Yeah, so Pook at this point.
Oh, we do what we need to do.
Pook at this point will just turn around to Nimriel and say, "How are you holding up there?"
She shrugs and says, "I'm not really finding anything useful except for this one book."
I have a couple of useful terms now. As much as it seems you have tried well.
Can I just quickly ask, Nimriel, which book or books have you kept?
I've actually noted them all, but it's just the first one I've kept. Shoved all the other 3 away.
Okay.
The Rangers, seemingly Rangers journal.
Okay.
So you've kept that one. Pook, which ones are you keeping? Or deciding you want to return to later?
The ones I'm returning to study further, the one regarding the Feywild and the one regarding the Shadowfell.
Feywild and Shadowfell. So that's your 4 and your 99. Okay, cool. And your 81.
Okay.
Cool. Just so I got basically what I did was I knew how many. Obviously, we knew how many books you were taking. I wrote up some numbers, and then I got you guys to write some numbers. And depending on how close to each other those numbers were, said how much help you were going to get from that book. In case you're wondering what was going on with that.
Okay.
Christ.
So, Nimriel, you have tried well, and certainly you may now be realizing how much a warrior spirit is needed in the library, as much as it is on the battlefield. Should you wish, I've found some useful tomes. You may wish to return in a couple of days.
Of course, fine.
Did you find anything useful?
Just the one. It might be very useful, actually. I'm just not so sure. Maybe I would like more variety.
If there is use to be found, I shall extract it. I'll meet you at the Blue Stallion in a few days.
Wait, hang on. Is he suggesting that he's going to read these?
Yes.
All of them?
Mm-hmm.
All three.
The three.
Yeah.
Including my book?
Yeah, so I've kept 2 aside and you kept 1 aside.
Right, okay, yeah. Right, understood. She'll stay, actually. She'll stay with you. And
Brave. And indeed, I've gained a respect for you that I didn't believe I would ever gain for you.
she notes that actually, in her very early years, she's actually a noble. But she didn't tell him that, and he doesn't care. Giving him a kind of hard stare.
At this, Pook will take a further piece of blank parchment from his parchment scroll, hand it over to Nimriel, take out a spare quill, and move the inkwell to the middle of the table. Then I suggest we start taking notes.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yay, monastery life! Woo!
So that is certainly for the rest of this evening. Pook and Nimriel are booking it up, and Nemea is headed back to the Blue Stallion, and I guess was wanting to take a look at the jobs board.
Yes, she'll go ahead and chat a little bit with the barkeep or the owner, just being sociable, and then go to the board.
Okie dokie. I have got this here. Something I put together just mostly for my own entertainment, but I hope you guys appreciate it as well. Actually, that's the point, because another one of these jobs has been done. Well, not done, but taken on. Which is number 9.
9.
So this job is also been taken on.
A new adventurer has joined the Dungeoneers.
Badger Arts, thank you for that follow and welcome to the Dungeoneers. And I shall show you the minor jobs list.
Before I read this, what's the innkeep or barkeep's name? Current.
I can't remember if I actually gave this guy a name. Okay, let's just quickly generate one, show me. So they're a halfling. Fosco Oldwart.
Excellent. Okay.
I'm just
So
gonna quickly
after
make a note of
chatting
this.
him up and buying like a low alcohol content, I don't drink, so I don't know like ales versus meads and stuff. But you get some low alcohol content. Just for
Not
sipping.
mead, not mead.
Okay, not mead. So just like kind of something.
No.
low alcohol.
It's meat now. It's too late.
I'm just saying. I specified first low alcohol content. Just something for day drinking and not getting sloppy, and then she'll go and look
Okay,
at
well, so you've got
the jobs.
you've got room and board. So basically, that does involve, as part of a meal, you would get a mug of ale as part of your meal. So you don't have to worry about it cost you anything on that bit. If you decide you want to go out drinking, there may be a charge. But if you're having one drink at the Blue Stallion, that's not gonna cost you, because you get one drink per meal that you're having there.
Alright. She'll go ahead and get an extra drink. No, she'll go to Minkin a drill, drinking a meal.
You gonna drink a bit?
A man can
And,
drill.
Okay, so
Yes,
you've got your drinking meal. So this is guessing that's part. You're doing that as part of your regular room and board that's been explained to you guys already, or are you doing that as like an extra one on top?
she'll go ahead and use that one for the
The
day.
regular one. Cool.
Okay. She'll take interest in a couple of the different things. She'll actually ask the innkeeper if he's got you know what? Never mind. She won't do that. Sorry. But she will notice in particular the tavern duty number 3,
Mhm.
and she will go up to Fosco and ask him if he's familiar with the new tavern opening on the waterfront.
Not personally. What was it? What was they called it? I think it's called like the Narble's Horn or something like that. Is something to do with a part of one of the creatures that's in the water. You'd better off asking down at the waterfront, to be honest. Careful, mind you. Not that I suppose you need any looking after. Looking at you there.
She gives him kind of she gives him a faint wink and nods. I'll have to do that. I'm looking to pick up a little cash on hand while we're on downtime. So I'll see you in a few hours then, or maybe not. And she laughs as she heads out. Oh wait, which direction is the river?
So the waterfront
Just as a reminder.
is basically is actually when it says the waterfront, it means that's actually down at the towards the ocean itself, down at the docks.
Yeah, so she's just asking basically for a reorientation, and then once she knows, she's like, "Oh yeah, the docks this way."
Yeah. Okay, so I'll move the view back to the actual city, Neverwinter here itself. We'll close that out of the way.
The number 10 mentions a cooking contest this weekend. So, for the purposes of weekend, what's today? Monday, Tuesday?
Basically, you got to each of the parties gets to Neverwinter on the Monday morning. They head out on the Monday morning. All slightly separate to each other in terms of their timing.
So what are we looking at for next session? What day will it be?
It will be we'll see. Basically, we'll finish up Monday night if we can, and then you'll be doing your Tuesday.
All right.
Generate a name for this place, because whilst I created the place, I didn't think of a name for it because I'm a clever man. So are you heading to the waterfront then, Dakota?
Yes, she is.
Okay, so heading down to the waterfront, asking for we'd be asking for directions, or are you just gonna like try and bundle your way around? What's your approach to find this place?
She's going to ask around a bit about the new tavern opening up.
Okay, just give me a
She'll
persuasion roll.
start on the side of I guess the northern part of the wharf, and then and you said investigation check.
No, that's a persuasion check. See how well
Persuade.
you're able to chat people up to give you information. Okay, so it doesn't take you much of because being a tiefling, you're quite exotic, and you're not an unattractive tiefling, are you? Because what's your score? You've got a +2 modifier to your charisma, so yeah, you're not an unattractive tiefling. So there's some of the more swarthy seaman types are they're sort of like taken in by the eyes and the horns, and they direct you to the place, and they explain that it's run by an old sea captain who's basically sold his ship so that he can run that place. If you bear me a minute, I will put it on the map for you. So I need another one of these. And it explains it's a place called the Black Manatee.
The Black Manatee, all right.
And that the person who owns it and is in charge of it is a silver dragonborn called Moonscale Balasar.
And she finds out his name as well while she's talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're rather taken in by you. It's like, oh yeah, it's just yeah.
She'll thank the crusty old seaman and
I never said it was crusty. I said it was swarthy. Come on, be fair.
you know they're a little bit crusty.
It's that barnacle on his forehead.
Yeah. Okay, so this is basically just going to be like a theatre of the mind sort of thing. So let's just give you a thingy. Yeah. There you go. So you head into the Black Manatee, and there's the silver dragonborn behind the bar. He's pulling pints and sending them across. There are 2 waitresses that are moving drinks about and collecting empties. They are both human. They do look like they're related, possibly sisters, maybe cousins, depending on how close the family is. So they're just pretty girls. There's also a rather imposing female half-orc standing behind the bar, helping out the dragonborn.
She'll give a kind of a chin lift to the half orc, just recognizing her presence, and she'll flex her arms just a bit to make her armor
Rattle.
pulse, make her armor rattle. Lost the word. And then she'll settle at the bar in front of Moonscale, or as the first available seat, and she'll say, "I take it you're Captain Balas."
Hey, that's what'll you be having? It's like you get the feeling that he's trying to be cheerful and come across the way that he's seen other barmen, but it's not his thing.
Well, I saw you looking for able bodies to help you run the place, and I'm in town for a little bit. Wouldn't mind a little bit of gold.
Well, it's opening week. We haven't been here for very long, and I could use a bit of help. And I've got a little bit of scratch available to pay for that. What I've been doing for this opening week to try and get people in to help me out is I'm offering 5 gold per night plus whatever tips you make yourself.
Just
Sounds good. I can manage behind the bar. I pour a mean drink.
I only serve nice drinks, so no mean drinks, please. None of that fancy continental stuff.
No mean drinks. Oh, I can't believe you got patrons in here who don't like a mean drink.
Well, they want to get drunk, not dead.
She grins.
Oh dear.
I suppose I can keep the mean drinks in my back pocket.
Right, did you want to start tonight, or are you looking to? I know Nick's, but he's an idiot. he doesn't know how much to pay people. He's proper new at this job. Right, okay, so yeah, yeah. Are you starting tonight, or are you just inquiring?
How many hours you expecting out of a person? Because I do have things I gotta do during the day too.
Well, we close up at 1 in the morning, roughly. No, obviously, yeah, trying to be. We close up a little while after the guards go around ringing their bells.
All right then, I can manage that. I'll start tonight. When does the evening shift begin?
Probably about a couple hours. It will start getting busy, I hope.
I could start now.
Sure. Thanks. You talk to Gerda, and she'll help you get you settled in and tell you where all the stuff is. And he sort of like shuffles away a little bit, and when he thinks he's out of view, he sort of like shoulders slump, he visibly relaxes. He's like, oh god.
She glances at the half-orc and says, "Are you Gerda?"
She nods and then says, "Yeah, don't worry. Just you'll get your wage. Just if you know what you're doing. I mean, we've got 3 ales that we do, and we've got
She's
1 wine."
Climbing over the bar at this point. She doesn't even bother to look for a door.
She doesn't stop you because she's like, yeah, you're probably going to want to take your armor off because it's going to get warm in here. If there's some space out back, you can just stash it down there. You'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll go ahead and head in that direction, and then she'll pause, say, "I can keep my sword on me, right?"
Well, I mean, how long's is it a long sword or a short sword she's got?
It's a long sword, but she does have the short sword as well.
Yeah, she's probably going to say you can keep the short one, but lose the long one. It will get in the way.
All right then, and she'll take she'll head in the direction that Gerda indicated, and look and see. You know, is her shit gonna get stolen? Is she trying to assess?
No, they give you a there's like a ship's lockbox sort of thing, which she opens up for you.
Yeah, she'll go ahead and put her armor in there, the longsword, the halberd. Well, actually, her halberd and shield would be at the Blue Stallion, as well as her hand axes, and she'll put the longsword, the short sword in there, and so she'll come out and the clothes she wears under her armor with the short sword on her hip.
Just a second. Bear with me just a moment, just looking something up very quickly, because I did have it written down somewhere. I saw it written down somewhere, and now I can't find it. That's if I typed that incorrectly.
Chill music.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't find the thing I was looking for. I'll just have to like make it up on the fly a little bit. All right, okay. Sorry. So you said well, I'll give you another what's going on. You a lot of the furnishings that's in this tavern. You get the feeling they were taken from the ship that he used to have. as a way to like sell the ship, but keep a lot of the furnishings for it to go towards decking out the tavern. So out back, there's a lot of things like it's the captain's bed. There's like I said, the foot lockers, like sailors' foot lockers. There's hanging up against the wall. You've got like things like cargo nets where other assorted stuff is stashed. Things like spare barrels for going behind the bar. They're stashed on there a bit as well. There is a stairs that go down to where the cellar would be, and again you've got all the barrels along the shelves. But then where there's spare space, again they got cargo nets up with barrels then stashed in there as well. You see like he's tried to save himself as much money as he can by making use of what he already had available to himself. The tavern at the moment is relatively quiet. I mean, this is Neverwinter, and it's always a busy city. There's always ships coming in and out, and as such, sailors coming in to get a few drinks before they head out on their next journey.
She works quite efficiently. She's chatty. She'll try and engage Gerda in conversation.
She's not dismissive, but she doesn't chat with you that much because she's trying to keep an eye on everything. Because I mean, she's got to do what her captain said. When you're talking with her, you find that she was the first mate on the ship, and she is fairly certain that this place isn't going to last that long because he doesn't know how to run a business. But she's trying, she's doing as her captain says. She's trying to like look after him a little bit and trying to stop him from fucking up too much stuff.
All right. So when she gets the hint about when she gets the feeling that Gerda's, under the impression it's not going to go so well, she kind of steps back a bit and stands next to her if there aren't any customers directly there, and she'll say, "So he doesn't realize he's overpaying me?"
No, he has got no clue whatsoever. He thinks that he can do this for a week, and that he won't go. He won't need any more of that for overheads. But I tried to explain to him that he's going to need to buy in more stuff, and he's probably going to end up essentially losing money before he starts making any money. But he didn't want to listen to me. He was thinking it was more along the lines of doing trade routes, and I'm just as much as I'm at this point, I'm just doing as I'm told because I can't bother dealing with his shenanigans anymore.
She nods, and that's all she says on it for right now. But she's thinking on that while she's working. She will eventually ask, "So what's the policy on drinking while working?"
So long as you stay standing, I don't really much care.
All right then.
But not only the ales. You can't have any of the wines, mainly because we haven't got much.
Oh yeah.
Not that anyone
She
really
actually
drinks
won't
much
drink
of it, but
anything, she's just checking.
yeah.
But yeah, she'll do a job, and unless you want me to roll for it, I mean, she's gonna be pretty diligent about it. I'm assuming she'll make some mistakes.
Okay, so if you're doing that in so tell you what, so you're doing your egg thing. So let's see, if you can give me a persuasion roll and a performance roll to see how well you do, basically, because there's going to be times when you'll need to be a little bit before me because you're going to have people hitting on you, and you'll need to properly assuage their directions and stuff. So a 16 and a 16, fair enough. Right, okay, so if you can roll for me a let's say a D4 and 2D6. you make a total of, in terms of tipping, 2 silvers, 5 coppers. That is your total tips for the evening, on top of your ridiculous pay that this guy has got. I mean, he's got no clue how to run a business.
Does
other
Gerda
thing I
give
need-
her the money at the end of the night, or
Well, you take your tips on you as you receive them, and you get the 5 gold at the end of the night.
she's gonna go ahead and pocket the tip and the gold, but she's not gonna mix it with what she currently already has. She's gonna kind of keep it separate.
Okie dokie. Well, it's of you if you want to do that. Make a note of that on your sheet as you are. As you will.
All right.
Right.
And yeah, she'll head back to the Blue Stallion after closing. Go ahead and put her armor back on for the trek back.
Okie dokie. You do not get accosted on your late night journey home. So, Grokash has spent the night carousing and has ended up making himself a little bit of money from gambling. Nimir has spent the night working a ridiculously well-paying job for an idiot tavern keep, and has also made a little bit of extra money in terms of tipping. You're now heading back to the Blue Stallion. Grokash will say that you're back at the Blue Stallion because if you weren't, then other stuff would have happened when you rolled the dice. And Nimriel and Pook, are you going to be trying to spend the night at the library, or are you just staying there as late as would be sensible and then heading back to the Blue Stallion to sleep? What is your actual plan for ending out your night, as it were?
Yeah, so Pook will do his usual when it comes to reading, lose track of time, stay there perhaps a little bit beyond his welcome, but knows the importance of
as dusk starts to come about, and it's the librarian goes around and starts mentioning to the people who are still there, the people who are sat down and obviously busy. She goes around and she mentions that it's getting rather late, that people may want to start ending their studies as they are at the moment, that they don't lend the books out, but so you can put them to one side for you with your name on them, so if you want to return in the morning you'd be able to do that as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So those books will be put to one side for you, and that is the end of your Monday night.
Woo!
Yay!
Hopeful progress. Yeah.
Yes. It was quite an involved and semi-complicated Monday for yourself. So you're actually technically slightly behind where the other groups are in terms of days, but that's not a bad thing. You have things you want to do. You have information and stuff available to you. So just if you are watching the other streams for the other guys, don't feel like you're lagging behind or anything at all. It's just they decided to do less complicated things.
Standard Saturday spoiler things.
So that's where we're going to be ending the stream, because we are like for 11:30. So what did you want to say?
Well, don't we normally end an hour and a half, or do we normally end in 30 minutes?
We would normally.
You finished about an hour ago.
We would have finished about half an hour ago.
Half
So
an
we
hour
would go from 8 till 11. Yeah, Grokash, you're horribly late.
I'm not the only one.
I'm surprised you weren't aware of that.
What?
Like,
What?
you were an hour and a half late. Yeah, you were way late.
Did something change? Did I miss something?
No,
British summertime.
8. Well, we were going to, but then Dakota was also late.
Yeah.
Because like on my clock, I was half hour early.
Brit-
No,
it's,
What time is
it is currently 11:30. At GMT.
it? Okay, so normally for like my time zone, we start at 7 a.m. and finish around like 10 or 11. It's 8:30.
Oh,
What the
clocks are amazing. Clocks are amazing.
I'm so well, first of all, I'm sorry. Didn't.
No, it's fine. No, it's-
Moving clocks.
What? But yeah, okay. Shit. Alright. I don't know what's happened there.
As-
Is it like
Chill.
daylight savings ended or something? What the fuck's going
Oh
on
my
here?
god. That laugh reminded me
yeah.
of fucking Evan Almighty.
It's yeah. Well, see, we are now on British summertime. So yeah, we've moved by an hour. I'm not quite sure where you've lost the other half an hour.
Okay, so just so I can do the internet calculator. What time are we starting for UDK?
We start for my time. It is 8 p.m. that we start. We're on from 8
p.m.
8
GMT,
p.m.
right?
8 was technically 8 p.m. BST.
8 p.m.
BST.
BST.
Yeah, because British summertime.
Right, I hate to be rude,
Oh,
guys, but I'm
Jesus.
gonna have to get skipping.
That's what I was going to say. It's because we started a bit late. I've
See,
let it
that's
carry
like-
over a bit late as well. But yeah, so thanks guys. So I'm going to end the stream there as well. So I'm going to find someone that we can host. So hopefully you'll stick around me for a few minutes more. Those of you who are staying, but I know you need to go, so that's fine.
Bye-bye.
So
Have a good one.
there is. Oops, didn't mean to hit that one. I meant to hit that button.
The fuck is British summertime? Where did this happen?
Yeah. Brits don't get a summertime. What the fuck? Let's see who's around, shall we? Let's see who's on for ETNL. Bum.
Oh my god, okay. I don't understand how this has happened. What the fuck?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Actually, you know what? Let's find someone else who is also streaming D&D. Actually, that's a good idea, shall we? Let's pick someone who's not necessarily getting a huge amount of love and support on this. Let's see. Let's find someone who's doing.
Oh. I think our daylight savings has like swapped.
That's
So you've gained an hour and I've lost an hour, which
so
is a 2 hour difference.
it's all gone. It's all gone a bit Pete Tong. Right, let's go to see Secret Agent Agency. I think let's have a look at. No, not that one actually. Just notice what the stream title is, and we're not going to go for that because that's going to give me flashbacks.
Flashbacks.
No.
Wub, wub, wub.
I don't have a very high AC though.
Let's see.
Actually, I think mine's higher than yours.
Yeah, there we go. They're in the middle of thing, and they're doing like a live stream bit for it. So we're going to go and say hello to this person here, which is they are called Hey Dungeon Master. So I'm wondering how aware of their stream they're going to be. So this may all go horribly wrong. But let's see. So we're going to go say hello to this this other D&D streamer. They are doing it as like a more of a live thing where they have their camera set up for it. So they actually got like a live table bit for it. But this session will go up onto YouTube. I'll get that loaded up tomorrow. And hopefully I'll be seeing some more of you guys tomorrow night as well. We've got a bit more D&D going on with the Sunday the Sunday Wolves. So take care, my friends. Praise our own Jesus. I love you all. Look after yourselves.
Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.